I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair, took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. How with the gang we packing? We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, script be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoes, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. Bonito, cheap, Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, though they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's enemy. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my pen ready. Used to hold myself back, my self-esteem damn bad. Gotta keep on chugging. Ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke bed in heaven. Got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to get ahead, so bump that. It's no surrender. Got a dollar flipped up. NFT to get them when they're hand and crypto, learn how to fix that. I don't really hold out the books, but I'ma learn how to fix that. Some opportunities that never come unless you paying attention, so no, I can't miss that. Moving. MVP, I got the record, I might have to prove something. Big jumper worthy, they gon' have to retire my jersey early. Whole crew coming, had to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket, yeah, I did all that. Big plans, partners trying to make profits, yeah, I did all that. Work, sweat, and tears breaking, even no ends, yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen, putting hours in my practice, I did all that. Yeah, I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, run it, ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my big dog, walking big talk, young veteran, living legend, bet I'm better than them, this is my shit, I'm a jacket like Letterman, y'all better not let them in, they gon' rotate this, so I keep the pedaling, started a chain, the cycle is heaven sent, this is from God, but I'm not your reverend, not in the pulpit, I'm a pit bull in this element, yeah, said you gon' pull up, then settle it, yeah, I've been married to this hustle, this is my ring, watch I step in it, yeah, and I ain't even got a yard, but I'ma get it here, watch how I touch down, pulling plans out the clutch, everybody getting crushed, the cut down is for us now, have to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket, yeah, I did all that, big plans, partners trying to make profits, yeah, I did all that, work, sweat, and tears breaking, even no ends, yeah, I did all that, had to make it happen, putting hours in my practice, I did all that, yeah, I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, run it, ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on a roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, on a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Bitcoin is kind of just ping-ponging around in its sideways range here, guys. I want to break down this range. Are we going to break up or are we going to break down? Are we going to push up to our next local target to the upside, which is sitting at about $107,000. It's like $107,096, I think. So we'll talk about those targets to the upside, guys. We'll talk about this volume profile that we've been looking at, and are we going to be able to hold the low here? We did come into some local support. We do have money flow coming up here on some key time frames that could give us an inkling that price may be able to come to higher prices. But as always, we'll give you the bullish case, the bearish case, and the way I am playing this price action personally, so you guys can make some money trading Bitcoin, whether the price goes up or down. Shout out to the CandleMafia. Sorry for the late start, guys. We actually had the live stream set to unlisted by accident. There was like 22 people in here at 5:45, and I was like, what the heck is going on here? I was like, oh my God, we're shadow banned. And then I realized it was unlisted. So we made it public, but we're here. We're late, but better late than never. And you guys know if we are late to the stream, we have to do a short stream, which you guys know is probably going to end up being 2 hours of TA. So, shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys for being here. Shout out to Darius at Frank the Tank. Hello, or hi. Hello, chat. Shout out to Darius. Welcome in. We got Codon in the chat. We got Jesse, our like police in the chat. Guys, smash that like button if you have not already. We don't judge. Touch it with your feet. We don't care. Fondle it. We don't really watch this. As long as you touch it 3 times. Make sure it's an odd number, guys. But let's see. We got Servando Estrada in the chat calling for a 4-hour live stream. We should. I think like when we get close to our next big milestone for subscribers, I think we should do like a subathon where I just stay live, and every subscriber we get, we have to add X amount of time to the stream. And yeah, maybe we'll do that. That'd be fun. We'll probably wind up on the live stream for 24 hours, but that'd be pretty fun. We got Captain Kirk in the chat. We got Tony D in the chat. We got Darren Does Things, Crypto Billy, Rob the Crypto Snob, Tyler Durden. You guys know who the mods are. Show them some love in the chat. Let's see. Tyler Durden, shouting out Jesse and Johnny December. Let's get it, baby. Shout out to Tyler. I hope you're doing well, bro. We got Tex, Mex, Biomex in the chat. Welcome, Biomex. I always get messed up with Tex, Mex, Biomex. Shout out to Biomex. We know him as Biomex only. But let's see here. We got Mikey in the chat said, in my opinion, waiting on a catalyst to propel up past 105.5. Shout out to Mikey. That's not a bad thesis there. I'm not going to lie. Let's see. Yeah, not viewing on PC. No live on YouTube channel. Shout out to SamCam. Yeah, we did have it unlisted, unfortunately, but we're back here. I was gonna say, yo, shout out to Chris Amella, bro. Crazy stuff there, saying I got a kid out there. I don't think so. At least not to my knowledge. But let's see. We got Frankie in the chat. Shout out to Gen Z. That is actually, I can't lie, guys. That is Tony posing as Frankie Candles, running the chat on the Frankie Candles account. But it is usually me. In the beginning of the chat, I'm in there, obviously. But yeah, let's see. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Stop. Said, good evening, Candlemafia. It's your boy Franklin Candelabra. And we're here to do 2 hours of TA on Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency market. Let's see. And hey, shout out to Givers Gain 111. Shout out to Crypto Billy. Let's go. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into these charts and see if we can figure out the next move on Bitcoin. Let's jump into it. So here we are, guys. Here we are on the Bitcoin chart, which is typically where we look at Bitcoin. But obviously, guys, we have kind of just been kind of bing-bonging around sideways in this range. We did come down to that very key level that we were watching yesterday, or actually not yesterday. We were watching this at the end of last week, but we knew that if we did break down, we were going to be looking at this Golden Pocket 786 retracement between about $101,000 and $100,000 even. Obviously, $100,000 is that big psychological level. But yesterday, we were kind of trying to look at this and say to ourselves, well, hey, if we're going to bing-bong around in this range, or if we are going to get a bounce from this Golden Pocket, what are we going to be looking at for a potential rise back to the upside? And, when we first got this drop into the Golden Pocket, guys, to be quite honest, I didn't really like this, right? Because there was at least not a lot of confirmation to enter the trade. We did come down to very key support. That was very, very clear. This is the Golden Pocket retracement. If we're going to look for a higher low and a higher high, this could be the area to look for it to come in at. But we actually did have a long setup here in the premium Discord during our premium live stream, but to be honest, I was really just looking for it to be a little bit of a scalp because there was not a lot of confirmation, right? And that kind of made us look for this to be a lackluster bounce to the upside, to potentially come back down and test $100,000 for some bigger divergences to form before getting that bigger move to the upside. But as we looked at yesterday, we actually did get a little rejection. But late yesterday, right? Today's Wednesday? Yeah, I think today's Wednesday. Late on Tuesday night, we did actually come in here and put some bullish CVD, and that's where yesterday we came onto the stream and said, well, hey, with this bullish CVD now, now with that new information on the chart, it does look a little bit better for a bigger push into higher prices. And we actually weren't even looking at this scalp zone. Actually, you might be like, where the heck is the range that we were looking at yesterday? And I will just pull that up so I don't confuse people. We were actually looking at this upper range, right? We came down to that value area low, dipped into the golden pocket. And then as we got inside of this volume profile, guys, we did look at this as well. Hey, don't really like this, right? But once we came down and put in the bullish CVD, we did, kind of changes my sentiment at that point. Well, saying, well, hey, this does open up the door technically for a bigger move to the upside and potentially a breakout here of this range. And we will talk about those next targets to the upside if we do get that bigger breakout. And again, we're going to cover both cases here, guys, because we do have, we'll take a look at Market Cypher B in just a minute, but we are just still kind of bing-bonging in this range, right? And the highest, I was willing to see this before we saw the bullish CVD, looking at this to be a lackluster retracement for a lower high and a lower low, potentially into $100,000 like I just talked about. The 786 POC was that next major area of resistance, right? And that was where our final TP was on that long position from the premium live stream on Monday. And we actually did have a short setup here in the Discord from this exact level. Well, it wasn't really exactly this level, but it actually was the scalp range that I was just looking at coming into the value area high. This is where we want to be looking for shorts. We did see some low time frame bearish divergences, and we did take that short down to the POC. And then at that point, we expect to lose that POC and come down to the value area low. TP was literally hit to like the pixel. But at this point, right, I'm going to continue to look at this, right? This is our local range, right? We took the short from here. We are coming down to some local support here, which I'm going to talk about maybe getting a bounce from here. But when we take a look at that larger range, I do just want to point out that we did actually reject that 786 Fibonacci retracement in confluence with that POC. This is where we would expect the rejection, right? That's part of the reason why we were looking for the short there. However, at this point, we have not come up and tapped the value area high, right? So when we look at this from the larger viewpoint of this larger volume profile, we could say value area low, get above that, right? Flip it to support. You could look for that continuation up into the next likely place for price to go, which is going to be where? Right into that POC, guys. And look at how beautifully that plays out. You get pushed directly into that POC. Absolutely beautiful. For the full fill of this range, the kind of simple thought process here based off the volume profiles will be value area low into the POC, and then obviously you're going to expect some turbulence here on that POC, but as long as technically we stay above this value area low, I'm not saying I want to come all the way back down here, but this is kind of where we can expect that potential journey to continue to eventually break above that POC and hit that final target within the volume profile, which would be target number 1, value area low, flip the value area low, target number 1, POC, target number 2, value area high. That is going to be the anticipation just looking at the simple volume profile, but again, we have to keep an eye on a few different things here, right? But just overall, this range does kind of remain the same. We kind of, we came down a little bit today, but for the most part, we're kind of just bing-bonging around in this sideways consolidation. So key levels of support in the higher time frames does remain exactly the same here, guys. If we do get a bigger drop to the downside, again, value area low is always going to be your first key level of support. But once we wind up losing that, I will be looking down to the 786 because we already got the bounce off the golden pocket. So once we lose that golden pocket, we can look to go down to that 786 and see if we can go ahead and tap that 786/$100,000 psychological level. And that's if we get the bigger drop, right? Again, within the laws of the volume profile, we would expect something like this, right? It might be messy, might not play out exactly like this, but that's kind of what you would expect based off the volume profile, assuming that money flow and everything else is kind of agreeing with us. That's kind of the higher probability expectation, right? It's not 100%, 100% probable, but it's just the general anticipation and expectation within the volume profile, right? Very simple. Now, if we are going to come back up to this value area high, well, we want to know where are the levels of local support that we could hold, so we could go ahead and hide that upper range, and we'll pull up that local scalp range, and you guys can see that we did come on down to our value area low here, and we were talking about this in the premium Discord a little bit earlier today. I was actually out of the studio for most of the day today, but we did come down here, and we did have some nice bullish divergences here at the value area low, and then we came up, and we got one more push to the downside, giving us kind of another bullish divergence here, and we actually did finally form a 30-minute bull div here on the 30-minute time frame, because that's where you look for 30-minute bull divs, is on the 30-minute time frame. And we did come down here, guys, to the value area low locally with bullish divergences. Whoops. Come on. Lower lows on our price action, higher lows on our momentum waves. And, VWAP's above the zero line. Money flow trying to come up here. But, we came down. We put in those bullish divergences. And where's that next likely place for price to go? Well, it's going to be pretty much the same spot as down here, right? You would go from the low to the POC. Right now we went back down to the low, bullish divergences. get that ride up to the POC. If we could flip this POC, let me get rid of this fib off the chart real quick, right? If we could break above this level, locally, this is a key level to get above 103,642. If we could flip that to support, we will be looking up towards that value area high, sitting at $104,536, right? Now, that is just going to be the smaller range inside our larger volume profile, right? So we would look for that bounce, right? And again, we did get the simple bullish divergences. Honestly, if we pull this up on Frankie Candles Essentials, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a nice sauce can confirmation down there. We could actually check that in a minute. But if we do wind up continuing up back through this profile, this is just simple volume profile theory, right? We come down to low, flip the POC, come up to the high, and then at that point, right, we could look for a potential bigger breakout of this local range. And where would the next target be? Very simply put, we would just go ahead and look at that upper value area high, sitting at 104,671. And if that is going to be, we talked a lot about this, guys, recently, talking about how, on these gigantic rips to the upside, Bitcoin does not like to give a lot of opportunity to get into longs. So, again, we have the key level at 100K, and we've talked about the medium time frame support levels. If we lose 100K, obviously we're going to be looking down towards the macro POC at about 97.5. But, when we just look at this, right, this could be, right, hoping if we are going to continue this massively bullish trend, this could be that, little dip that we get before just coming up higher, right? Again, not a lot of opportunity has been given here to the bears to get back into the market, right? We got the big bounce when everyone thought it was the bear market. Slight dip, massive move. Slight dip, massive move. Slight dip. This could be that bottom, right? And that is why we were looking at that as a very key level, because if the market is going to continue giving the bears a hard time getting into their long positions, if they even like to long, that could be a big level to hold, right? Golden pocket retracement. We have the anchored VWAP from the last impulse of the last leg to the upside. Very, very key level. And we did technically have that 1 minute bullish divergence. But then once we got that bullish CVD, it does look a little bit better, right? So, we're kind of in a pickle here, right? Because we did reject the 786. But as long as we remain in this profile, again, right, I just want to be very clear. The reason we looked for a short here was not only that it was the value area high of our scalp range, but it was also the 786 Fibonacci retracement of this entire move to the downside, right? So if we're going to change trends here, high, low, lower, high, could be where you put that lower low into $100,000, right? But I'll be honest, we're going to take a look at Market Cypher B in a second, and I'm going to show you guys why we might just be able to continue up. But I just want people to understand the context of that, right? Because if we come back tomorrow and we get the bigger drop to the downside and we do not fill this whole profile, it wouldn't be terribly unexpected, right? It wouldn't be like the biggest shocker in the world because, again, this is the area where you would potentially put in a lower high before continuing your downtrend. But again, I'm going to show you Market Cypher B in just a minute. Now, if we do continue up, right, we'll look up to go to the POC, break above that value area high. Next major target on the chart is very simply going to be sitting here between about 107.94. I said 96 before. Dang it, I was wrong. 107.94 all the way up to about 108.17, right? So that is that next Fibonacci extension zone. We talked about these yesterday and how reliable of targets these can be, whether you're looking at local targets or macro bull market targets. This could be a huge, 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 huge tool to use to predict these prices, right? It's exactly how we predicted that Bitcoin would stall out between these prices right here. So that's still the next target to the upside. To be honest, kind of a boring day for Bitcoin, just continuing sideways. But as of right now, we actually do have, I'll actually show this real quick. We actually did have slight bullish CVD forming here. It's not major, right? But we do have lower lows on our price action, higher lows on our CVD. We did get back into this volume profile, right, or TPO profile. And then, technically, this is somewhat of a bullish sign, right? This could indicate that we are going to get a continuation up. And then when we do take a look at Market Cypher B, let's take a look at the 30-minute here, right? 30-minute VWAP coming down. So, again, we could get some noise here. But when we look at some of these higher time frames, 2-hour green dot, or actually, wow. This 2-hour green dot was not even printing before, and it must have just printed and confirmed right away. So we did get the 2-hour green dot to print, and when we look at that 7-minute money flow, you can see we did get that crossover into the green. This is a lower time frame Market Cypher B 116 strategy. So that is something that could call for more upside as well. And then again, just in the local context here, right, we did come down to the value area low. So, the idea here would be like bull divs at the low into the POC. Turbulence, once we get above there, we can look up towards that value area high. Does that make sense? I don't want to confuse everybody. Let me know in the chat if this confuses you guys when we have ranges inside ranges. But it is part of the reason why we're able to make these predictions and just call a lot of these moves, whether it's to the upside or the downside. It's like you have that local range, right? We know that's a key level of support because it's our local volume profile. And when you break out of this range, you're just simply going to zoom out and pull up that larger profile and be like, okay, well, we got above all these levels. Let's see what's next, right? Just look at the upper profile or higher time frame profile, which is at 105,667, obviously. So yeah, Other than that, at the end of the day here, guys, when we look at the higher time frames, daily red dot obviously confirmed yesterday. VWAP kind of chilling below the 0 line. 2-day red dot is going to confirm here in about 2 hours, but look at your money flow. That 2-day money flow is one of the big signals we've been watching, not only on Bitcoin, but also on a lot of the altcoins that could indicate the next kind of bigger continuation to the upside, right? We looked at this yesterday, 2-day money flow crossover right here. Bada boom. What happens? Massive leg to the upside. And it did come when we were reapproaching, right, or starting to break out of this larger range, right? We kind of crept up here, flipped the value area low, came into the value area high, broke out, big leg to the upside, right? And that did kind of start to cross over into the green as we were tapping on that value area high of your macro range. Well, when we look at the higher time frames, what are we actually tapping our head on right now? Well, obviously, I know these levels have been shown forever. I mean, realistically, for the past 184 days, we've been looking at this range pretty much. But you can see we are tapping into this value area high. So, at the end of the day, when we look at this, right, we are at resistance, right? This is why we were looking for the short here at $105,000. We came into macro resistance, right? This is the value area high, typically a place where you get a cool off. But if we're going to break out of this range, guys, what we really want to see is we want to see money flow start to come up on some of these higher time frames. We already got the daily money flow crossover that helped us get accepted back into the range and fill it. And now, after we see that daily money flow crossover give us the continuation to the upside, what do we have on the 2-day, right? That 2-day is following very, very closely behind. This could potentially give us the continuation up out of this range and up to our next targets. I wouldn't say that $139,000 is the immediate next stop, obviously, but this is better than nothing, right? I don't want to say better than nothing, but it's like as good of a situation as we can be in, right? We have the 2-day money flow in the red. We got a massive correction to the downside. Now we're crossing back into the green. This is not horrible, right? And again, money flow doesn't necessarily indicate a massive instant rip to the upside, right? So we could potentially, again, anticipate bigger pullbacks. This is where I do have to cover a little bit of the bearish case here, guys. Of course, everybody wants to see the continuation up here, me included, right, through the local profile, right? Well, hopefully we can get back up to that value area high, creep into the value area high of the upper range at 105.6, and then crack into some of these higher prices, right? But when we look at the higher time frames, we do have to be open here, right? If none of those other signals play out, if the 3-hour green dot printing here, the 4-hour green dot about to print right here. Let's check that 15-minute money flow. Yeah, that 15-minute money flow about to cross over into the green with that 4-hour green dot looking to print. How close is this? It's hard to tell. Yeah, it's not necessarily directly at the 0 line, but it is creeping up there, right? So if we get that 4-hour green dot with the 15-minute money flow crossover into the green, that could give us that little extra gusto that we need to come back up to that value area high. And more locally, right, first target, again, would be really sitting up here at about 104.5, right? And then once we break out of there, we can look to push in that upper value area. Now, that's kind of what I'd be looking at short term to see if we can get that continuation up. But if none of that plays out, right, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. It's all about probabilities. Those are the signs that are potentially, pointing to higher prices. If we don't see those play out, right, and we do get a bigger correction, this is obviously in the cards. And if that does happen, our biggest levels of support are obviously going to be that $101,000 to $100,000 zone, right? 101.3 all the way down to about 100,200, all the way down to the oh my God, I can't breathe. Sorry, guys. $100,000 psychological level, which is sitting right at the bottom of that blue box. So again, if we do lose this and we come down to that 100K level, 786, maybe we can get some like nicer high time frame bull divs, but I'll be honest. Yeah, we don't really have too much setting up for like a super nice bull div from there. I mean, maybe lower lows. I mean, maybe you get a little bit of a 4-hour bull div. I don't know. It just doesn't look, it's a little hard to front run that signal right there, to be quite honest with you, but that is technically the next key level. 100K psychological level is important, right? It's not only a psychological level, but it's like the psychological level for Bitcoin. Everybody has wanted 100K for so long. We're finally here, right? So I do think that, I do think that it holds a little bit of weight, right? And especially the fact that it's on that 786. We don't know if the higher low is going to come in on the golden pocket. If it doesn't, it's going to come in on the 786, right? And then once you lose that 786, you're going to be looking for that bigger correction to the downside, probably looking down towards the POC, right now sitting at about $96,779. So, biggest levels on the chart right now, unless you're looking to like scalp within this little mini range, they pretty much remain the same as yesterday, right, that we looked at on the live stream. 101,355 all the way to 100K. Lose that. In my opinion, that is the ticket to very likely come down to the POC. Now, is this a good level of support? In my opinion, this is definitely a strong level of support. We will be looking for bounces here. However, at that point, you have to start considering, right, that you must bounce off this level, right? We have seen many times assets reject the value area high, come back down to the POC, and then get that bigger rip to the upside. But once you do that, the anticipation is reject the high, go to the POC, and if you lose this level, guys, not a good sign, right? That is where I think things get much more bearish, at least for a drop down to about $91,000 to $89,500, right? So that's kind of what I would be looking at in the long term. This is the same plan that we had yesterday. Again, Bitcoin only moved, call it a couple % here to the downside. So the long-term plan remains the same. Hopefully, if we do come down, we can get this. If not, I'd probably be looking for that. If we don't get that bounce, yikes, it's going to be a much more bearish. And then, that at that point, we would be seeing the full fill of that macro volume profile. I think, as of right now, with the way the charts look, with the way money flow looks, I think the higher probability is the bullish case, right, where we do continue up. Maybe we just come up from here like we just looked at. And even if we do come back down, I do think the bias here is going to be bullish, right? 2-day money flow just crossing over into the green. This could potentially set us up, right, where even if we do get the bigger pullback, right, maybe that red dot on the 2-day, which has been printing, finally confirms. Maybe it gave us what we need, right, in the aggressive kind of uptrend situation we talked about before, not giving the bears a chance to get in, right? 2-day red dot prints. Immediate 2-day green dot prints gives you another leg up. 2-day red dot prints, we get the move down, and then maybe we get an immediate green dot and we shoot up, right? That would be the most bullish case. Again, this is an important level to hold the support. It would make sense, right? 2-day, money flow crossing over into the green. So the reason I like this is even if we do get a bigger pullback, maybe we come down and test the POC, maybe it's the 786, but either way, right, as we watch this come to the downside, this money flow crossover could be an early sign saying that the longer-term trend is indeed going to continue to the upside, right? So that could mean that we come down. Excuse me, guys. Look that way, guys. Everybody in the chat, I need everybody to close their eyes for 5 seconds while I do something that is not secret at all. Achoo! Oh, God, guys, sorry, I sneezed. That was bad. That was so bad. Oh, God. But anyway, if we do get the bigger pullback, guys, this money flow, remember, money flow indicates the overall trend, not the instant ebbs and flows in the market, right? So that money flow crossover does not necessarily mean that we have to take off from here. If we get the bigger pullback, we can put in a higher low, right? And as long as this money flow either stays in the green or maybe it fakes down a little bit and comes back into the green, this could be an early warning sign that any pullback could be looked at as even like a deeper pullback, could be looked at as a higher low and a higher high situation. And to be quite honest, this POC, strong resistance on the way up, as we've been looking at. Massive, massive resistance on the way up. Many, many levels. Much confluence, right? And if we do come back down there, we are now flipping that. We could have the opportunity to flip that into support, right? So all that heavy resistance becomes support. And that's why I do say I would much rather keep this like super bullish trend, because if we are going to do something like I know a lot of people are hoping for, where we're just going to go for that next leg, we don't typically see even from the bottom here, right? Like you just come up, not really that big of a pullback, and then they just get smaller and smaller before it's just green candles to the upside. So if we want to see something like that, it would be very common for Bitcoin to just hold up here and send it. But if we do get the bigger pullback, I like the fact that this money flow is crossing over into the green, right? Because that means that we could easily just get a little bit more of a pullback and a continuation up. All that big resistance turns to support. And if we do pull some but we pull some Fibonacci retracements, we'll pull it from the impulse all the way to the high here. Let me just go ahead and change my settings here. We pull it from the bottom of this range to the high. Golden pocket confluence, right? Pull it from the low of the previous consolidation range all the way up to the high. Golden pocket is perfectly confluent with this. So, again, like the bigger macro zones of support that I will be looking for bounces at, I'm just going to give them here. 101,355 to 100K. Underneath that, honorable mention, I will say this. Depending on how long it takes us, who knows, guys? Maybe we continue sideways here. We don't really get much information, and then finally we get the drop down. Depending on where this anchored VWAP is, by the time we come down here, I don't think it's very likely, but by the time we come down there, if that anchored VWAP is coming in confluence with that 786, that will be something to look for as well, just to add a little bit of confidence to that $100,000 level as key support. But depending on when we come down there, that might just kind of sit in the middle of no man's land, right? Like we're at 90. Anchor VWAP sitting at 98.3 right now. Yeah, we'll have to see where it is when we approach. But at the end of the day, right, hoping to hold this level. If we lose that, very likely we come on down to this zone. And technically, we would like to hold above the POC, but I wouldn't mind slight deviations because we have that 786 down there. But I would really much prefer hold the golden pocket, because if we come down to that 786, you're kind of just bouncing right up into the POC, which would be major resistance. So it's not that you can't look for a bounce here or look for a long down here, but if you do, you just want to be careful that this is major resistance again. At that point, and again, it's not just losing the POC because of the way the volume profiles work. Value area high, start losing the POC. You would expect the value area low. That's kind of like reason number one, losing the POC is bearish. But number two here, guys, is, we've looked at this so many times on the visible range volume profile, right? This being such a high time frame, macro, high volume node, right? Once you start losing that 97.5 level, if you start getting stuck under there, you have now lost. It was major resistance on the way up. You hope it flips to major support, but if you lose that again, you're now back below all that resistance, which is just more bearish, right? And would add to the thesis of potentially filling that profile in full. And again, I think the higher probability is that we do continue up, at least as of right now. We do still have some of these high time frame VWAPs rolling over, right? So we do have to be prepared for some kind of a bigger pullback if those do start to print. 3-day red dot getting very close to printing. We're already seeing the 2-day red dot print. But again, it's all about money flow. In a case where you want to see massive moves up on an asset, you want to see money flow coming into the green. There's been many a times, right, where we talk about, and we talked about it back here, when you have price come down to a value area low, which is a key level of support, it's where you typically want to be looking for longs. But when you look for big bounces, say you wanted to see all-time highs from here, you have to think to yourself, if we want a big move to the upside like this, what do we want money flow to look like, right? Well, we want money flow to be the opposite of what it's doing here, right? You don't want it to be trending out, about to cross over the zero line. You want it to literally do the opposite. You want it to be in a big red wave about to cross into the green. If that was the case, a big move up here would have been likely, but that was not the case. That is not what we expected. As a matter of fact, we used money flow to predict that we would get the bigger crash down to $80,000 to $75,000, right? And money flow indicated that, right? So when we're looking to break out of a range, we want to see pretty much what we're seeing right now. But that doesn't mean, right? This indicates the overall trend, not the ebbs and flows, right? So when we look at that, right, we're saying, well, hey, whoops, we do not want to invert that. When we see that red dot, we can say, well, hey, maybe it'll pull us down a little bit more. Maybe we get the 3-day, the 4-day. But as long as this money flow can at least continue to be putting in higher lows. I mean, ideally it stays in the green, right? But if we do come down, chances are it's going to come back into the red. You could fake it, put a higher low in and just continue that overall trend to the upside. But, this is what you want to see when you want to get a bigger move to the upside, right? If I had money flow freshly crossing over into the red here, I would be, a lot more bearish, right? Just like we were back here saying like, hey, could you rip up here? Maybe, right? But money flow's coming out. That's not what you would expect. You would indeed want to see the opposite of what you saw here for a big move up. And that's why you anticipate the move down, right? So it just helps you predict the move down. But here, we have the crossover into the green, which is not that bad, right? But if we do get the bigger pullback, I want you guys to be aware of these higher time frame supports, right? Because, just because it looks good right now and it does seem more probable that we will get the move to the upside, the charts are not right 100% of the time. They're right a lot, especially our charts. But, you do just have to be aware of that, right? This keeps inverting. So yeah, I mean, that is pretty much what we are looking at here. I would just be careful. These high time frame red dots, worst case scenario, I would hope for something like this, right? That's what you would want if we get a bigger correction off these high time frame red dots. But ideally, hopefully these high time frame red dots just kind of print and flip back into the green like they did, like even right here, right? You get a green dot, or that was a red dot, green dot situation. Let me come back down over to the 2-day, something like this, where you have the red dot and then it just kind of immediately flips into a green dot. We call that a VWAP flip, right? We got VWAP flops and VWAP flips. When you go red dot with an immediate green dot or a quick green dot right after that, that's a VWAP flip. And when you go green dot to an immediate red dot, that is a VWAP flop. That is not what you want to see for a move up. The VWAP flip is what you want to see. So we'll have to see. We'll have to watch this and kind of see what the charts bring us day after day. But as of right now, I like that 2-day money flow crossover. And those are the key levels that I will be looking at. And, worst case scenario, hopefully we hold up here, but you guys really won't start to see me be bearish, and looking for, lower prices until we lose that 786, which by the way sits at about 94,658. But a lot of support in here, So, if those high time frame red dots give us a bigger pullback, this is really what I'd be looking at. And definitely an opportunity to bounce here, right? And again, you have the golden pocket retracement. Again, if you're looking for your uptrend to continue, whether you're high or low, you're high or high, if you want to put another high or low in, this would, in my opinion, for a deeper pullback, that would be a good place to pull back. That makes sense, right? Wouldn't be ideal. We don't want to endure that drop to the downside, but it is definitely a valid idea, right? And then obviously value area low, 89,500 is going to be the level underneath that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But we're definitely at resistance, guys. So we'll see. Maybe we just kind of consolidate below resistance, right? Tap our head, tap our head, tap our head, and then maybe we'll break out. If not, you guys now have the next key levels that I'm looking at and the update on the market Cypher B as well. 8-hour red dot has just confirmed, or not just confirmed. How long is this? Confirmed about 7 hours ago, I guess. Now, another thing I will be looking at, guys, if we are going to just kind of get the bigger move up quickly here, remember 4-hour green dot, 15-minute money flow crossover, 4-hour VWAP coming up, your 15-minute money flow crossover is attempting to happen here. But again, same thing we looked at yesterday, right? 12-hour green dot, VWAP getting rejected at that zero line pretty heavily there. 16-hour got it rejected as well, right? This is what we wanted to see if we were going to break out yesterday. We wanted to see the green dots print on the 12-hour with the 45-minute money flow crossover into the green, which would have been back here, right? We kind of got like a fake out crossover into the green, then we came back into the red, but we never printed the 12 and 16-hour green dots, right? So if we get those 12 and 16-hour green dots with the 1-hour and 45-minute money flow crossover into the green, that is what I think would likely start the bigger move to the upside. 4-hour, 15-minute would probably be enough, in my opinion, to at least bring us up to this POC at 104.9 or 105K, all the way up to 105,675 to the value area high. All right, so 4-hour, 15 could potentially continue us up through this profile. And then if we break out and we start to get the 12 and 16-hour green dots with the 1-hour and 45-minute money flow crossover into the green, that's where I would be looking up towards these bigger levels, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So far, so good, but those are all the key levels. These are very important levels to have on the chart, guys, because if you get the pullback, it's very important to understand the context. You don't want to just look at the charts, see a dump, feel bearish, and not know what to do, right? And by looking at the charts, honestly, when you take a look at the higher time frames, right, like, this is a really good way to kind of like curb the fear in the market, right? Like if you're saying, hey, if we cool off here and we get, and this looks good for a continuation of the upside if we get down here. If you don't know that on the way down, this drop to the downside, by the time it gets down here, you're going to be beaten and battered to be feeling so bearish that you're kind of like giving up, right? Or you might not be looking for longs, or you might not be looking to buy the dip, or whatever you're looking to do. By the time you get down there, you might be thinking to yourself like, screw it. This is bearish. I don't know why all these pumps keep getting eaten back up, right? But when you have the idea of the context, you can just you get excited to come down to these levels because you see it as an opportunity. You're not saying, oh man, Bitcoin's going down. You're saying, all right, come on, bring it to our key level. It's looking good. Money flow looks good. Let's send it up. Take another long. It's another opportunity. And if you're if you're looking for the shorts like we do, you can catch those shorts from the high and make money on the way down as well on the way back up. So yeah, other than that, not really too much to update here on Bitcoin as we've just gone sideways, but hopefully that clears things up for you guys and helps you understand kind of my thought process and what I'm looking for and how I'm looking to react to certain individual levels. Let's see. And if you guys get overwhelmed, right, remember, the bare bones, right, the backbone of these predictions and these strategies that we see play out very often is simply the volume profile, right? Like on this way up to the POC and the value area high, we had tons of different levels, right? Like we knew we had a ton of support up here or resistance up here, right? We had some levels here, right? You have all these levels that mark up your chart, right? You're thinking to yourself like, oh man, like I'm starting to get overwhelmed with all the TA on my chart, right? I know I have like 100 levels in here, and then I got a level here, we got another level right here, some down here, and you start to look at this and you're like, oh my God, this is so confusing, right? Like you don't know what level to look at, and if your chart looks like this all the time, you want to clean your chart, right? Like when you see, it's like almost like a telltale sign of someone who's like new to trading, or not just trading, but it's like new to reading the charts, is like you'll see them with like a million, and hey, listen, if it works for you, it works for you, but like you'll see them with like a million different, this is how my charts used to look like, just like a million lines, right? And then you got like 40 different indicators, moving averages everywhere, and it's just too much information. You don't know what to react off of. You're like, well, we're going to reject here, we're going to bounce here, we're going to reject here. It's just too much information, and too much information is 100% bad information in my own personal opinion, right? But those lower time frame levels, all those nitty-gritty levels are extremely important, but they're not important, in my opinion, to keep on your chart all the time. So it's okay to have all those levels on your chart, but when you don't want to forget just general market structure, right? Just your simple trends to the upside, right? Just simple market structure, simple volume profiles, and that's why I love the profiles. You could have a million local levels in here trying to scout this lower time frames, which we do, which is totally fine, but you don't need that on your chart all the time, right? Because you want to be able to turn everything off and just look at the basic bare bones and be like, hey, we got above the value area low. I know that if we stay up there, there's a very high chance we can creep our way up to the POC. Sure, we can get a rejection there. This is where those local levels come into account, right, or come into play. If we cool off here, where are the levels we want to hold, right? And that's usually where we have like local volume profiles that we're looking at, right? And we're like, well, hey, we actually front ran that value area low, which is a testament to how much Bitcoin does not want to give the bears an opportunity to get in. We didn't even come to that value area low, which is pretty rare. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, you could just look at this on a higher time frame. You don't have to try to, you know, always look at every individual level. Get above the low, go to the POC. Rejection from the POC. Sure, we could bounce off some local levels. That's great. But at the end of the day, we're just expecting some kind of noise near the POC and then eventually to flip that and go to the value area high, right? And then that's why I keep all my stuff in folders, which is super nice if you don't do that. You should definitely be doing that. Actually, I have a tutorial video on how to do this in the beginner series on the channel. But just keep it simple, right? And then you can say, okay, this is nice. We went from the low to the POC to the high. Now we're rejecting the high. I can get my context, right? We filled the range in full. We're rejecting the high right now. Then you could do your money flow analysis. You could do your local levels that you're looking at, right? Our local scalp range, right? That's where you could pull this up and be like, well, hey, if we are just going to break out here, where are the key levels that we want to hold? Well, hey, golden pocket 786 sitting right there. If we lose that, where's the next key level? It's going to be down here towards that POC. And then you know, now I'm using the volume profile for my context. If I lose that POC, now it's more likely to go to the value area low. And that's kind of how you can say, well, hey, that would make sense to get the full fill of the range, assuming money flow is agreeing with you, right? If we come down there, and we start getting bullish confirmations and money flow is coming back up and we have a reason to look for a bounce, we could say, well, hey, this is a nice place to look for a higher low and a higher high. But very dangerous because you get stuck under there, you're losing all that heavy support and turning it into resistance. Just really don't want to lose that POC for more than one reason. Heavy support and the POC of the range based off the laws of the volume profile. It makes a lot of sense to stay above that. Does that make sense? So yeah, there we go. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Mike. He said, Trading View is like the candlestick oracle. Absolutely. Guys, I hate to do this, but I got to make a phone call right now. I have to call Mrs. Candles really quickly because I think she might have fallen asleep. And just give me 1 second here. Let's see. Hello, Mrs. Candles. Quick question. I did kind of scream into the hallway. I don't know if you actually heard. Yes, I was just. No, Rush. I just didn't know. I knew you were far away. I couldn't hear you answer me, so I didn't know if you actually heard me. I just want to make sure you heard me. Okay, awesome. You are the best. And just real quick question, 100K or 107K first? Okay. All right. Well, thanks. That's not the answer we were looking for, but thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Shout out to Mrs. Candles. I asked her to bring me some coffee, and I just didn't hear her answer me, so I didn't know if she heard me or not. Hopefully she doesn't feel rushed. But I asked her 107 or 100K first. She said 100K, and we all know Mrs. Candles is never wrong. But anyway, let's jump into chat real quick here. Let's see. Shout out to Cheng. I said, Frankie, how long do you stay in a trade? 100% dependent on the trade. It'd be like impossible for me to give like a general answer for. It depends on the context of what I'm doing, right? Like sometimes we'll catch, and sometimes, right, like trades that I think are going to be shorter term wind up being held for much longer because oftentimes I will be holding a portion of that trade to continue in the direction, right? So, for example, I'll come down to like a 30-minute time frame for something like this inside of a local range. This is the only way I could kind of estimate it. Like very hard to answer, right? So this short technically was entered yesterday, and then the TP was hit right here. So that wound up being 13 hours. But listen, I mean, if this thing nukes to the floor, right, it could happen in 15 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. Like it could always be different, right? So it's very hard to say. You could kind of generalize like, hey, on a 30-minute time frame, this move from the high to the low ended up, being 13 hours. Deviate above the high, look for your short, get back into the range. POC is next. Lose the POC, go to the value area low, and you could see how well that was respected here, right? Like we pushed directly into that level. And then on the way back in, right, we get above the low. Depending on where you enter, this would be different, right? But let's say you entered below the value, right on the value area low, right? By the time you get to the high, it wound up being about 10 hours, say. 10 or 11 hours, right? But if you entered on the retest of the value area low here, it would have only been 5 hours. So you could see, you could kind of estimate, right? This one took about 11 hours. The move down took about 13 hours, right? You know, this rotation took 22 hours. You know, so it really depends, right? But sometimes, let's say you catch this short position, and you know the original idea here is to short from the high, go to the PLC, go to the low. You could take some profit off the table, but you know, if you have a reason to be looking for a confident bigger move to the downside, you could take some profit off the table, move your stop loss to break even, making it a guaranteed winning trade, right? Because you've already pocketed money. Your stop loss is that break even. If price rips, you get stopped out, sure, but you get stopped out at break even, you get to keep the money that you already put in your pocket, right? So this is typically how I like to trade, right? So I will take money off the table and get stopped out in profit sometimes. But if the trade keeps running, right, if I see a reason to let the trade run for a potential continuation to the downside, that little 13-hour trade, depending on how long it, let's say you go down to $97,000, right, depending on how long it takes you to get down there, this could be a week, 2 weeks, a day. It could be a super fast dump. You could range around here and then come down, right? It really depends, right? So this little, there's no general, sometimes I'm in a trade for like 5 minutes, right? It really does depend on the situation, right? Like every situation will be different, but hopefully that helps you out. Let's see. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. If we get 1,000 likes on tonight's live stream, I will twerk live on camera. I'm kidding. I won't do that. But we will do, I don't know. We'll give away some hats. We'll give away some crypto. We'll do something fun. Let's see. Let's say it goes to 108,000. What is your TA to take profits going down? Shout out to DJ Mac P. DJ Mac P. Shout out to you, bro. He says, let's say it goes up to 108. What is your TA to take profits going down? Meaning if I were to short at 108K, if I were to short at $108,000, let me pull up the current macro range, right? So if I were to say come up to the Fibonacci retracements and I were to take a short here, my general plan for that would be just like textbook, would be like, say, shorting here. I would have to say the next major level of support is the value area high of the previous macro range, right? Because the thought process for me personally here would be deviate above the high. This is sometimes you can get accepted back into the range for another full fill, right? So in the context right now, I would think that when we look at this, you know, I would just have to look at that as like, hey, it really depends on what the market structure looks like up here. Do we have a range? Again, it is going to make a difference, right? But if I were to just short up here and assume that we're going to dump, value area high is the first major level that, you know, if we are going to continue up, this would be the level you would want to hold on top of, right? This is just like a value area low on the altcoins that we've looked at are doorways to higher prices down here, right? You break above the value area low, you're looking for the full fill of the range. That's why the value area lows are doorways to higher prices. But on the way down, value area low is technically the doorway to lower prices, right? So let's say we come up there, bada boom, bada bing, you come down. You were hoping that you can hold on top of this range and continue up. If you come down and you start getting accepted back inside this range, well, what is the next likely place for price to go, right? You're going to start to anticipate a move down towards your POC. Lose the POC, go to the low, right? It's exactly what happened up here, right? We got the rip up to 109K. You come back into the range. You try to get out. You can't. 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 Next stop, POC. Get stuck under the POC. Next stop, value area low. Does that make sense? And Mrs. Candles, thank you so much. I know you don't feel good. I'm so sorry for asking you for that, but I appreciate you greatly, and I love you to the death of me. Shout out to Mrs. Candles. And she's even taken the dirty mug. Mrs. Candles the GOAT. Mrs. Candles the GOAT. I'm trying to talk quietly because I don't want to. Did I break the other one? The other glass? No. I might have thrown it out by accident. So, guys, my toxic trait is throwing out glass and silverware. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm always looking at the charts. Sometimes I will throw a mug in the garbage. I don't know. We're going to have to sign up for a subscription for coffee mugs. But anyway, shout out to Mrs. Candles. She did not have to do that. I didn't know if she heard me. She's like, oh, I didn't know it was a rush. I'm like, it's not a rush. It's not a rush, Mrs. Candles. Shout out to Mrs. Candles. She's the GOAT. I'm a very lucky man. I don't boss Mrs. Candles around. Trust me. That is love. Shout out to Codon. Man, I wish Mrs. Candles would show her face. I wish Mrs. Candles could be more public. Mrs. Candles is an So, but continuing on here, right? I do just kind of want to cover this. That's what I would look for, right? So just to answer that question, value area has to be the first major TP, right? And then, and again, I want to be very clear. It has to do with context, right? Like I might close the whole trade here if it looks like we're going to hold a higher low and continue up, right? But assuming you continue down, that's the first take profit. POC is the next major take profit. And then the full trade idea there would be deviate above the high, get accepted back in, back to the POC, back to the low. But you could see here, it's not always a clean journey. It's not always a clean journey, guys. You come in, oh my God, we're going to break out. Oh my God, we're going to break out. Oh my God, we're going to break. Oh man, we did go to the POC. That's why the volume profiles are so good, because even within the confusion, more often than not, you can lean on that value area high, at least sucking you down to the POC and then the value area low. So that's just always generally my take profit plan, either on the way down or on the way up. Right? Whether it's a 5-minute range, a 10-minute range, a 15-minute range, or, a range over months like this. So hopefully that helps you out. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, let's, Yo, shout out to World said, we saw you throw her the other day. I do throw her sometimes, but she likes it. It's fun. Shout out to Chugnug. We're going to take a look at ETH real quick right now. So, yeah, we're going to take a look at the alts right now. So if you want to see your favorite altcoins, go ahead and drop them in the chat right now. Rob the Coach style to count the votes and let us know what we're looking at. I'm going to do ETH, XRP, all the good stuff first, and then we'll roll into the requests. Okay, not drinking that anytime soon. Good Lord. Let me try to cool this off a little bit. All right, I'm going to have to let that chill out. Man, I am shot right now. All right, there we go. Drop those altcoins in the chat real quick. But, yeah, that's my plan on Bitcoin right now. We'll keep an eye here on the price action as we're looking at the altcoins. But real quick, let's go ahead and jump on into Ethereum, or Ethereum, as some people call it. Now, as you guys know, Ethereum has been on an absolute tear. Turns out it wasn't dead, at least yet, right? At least yet. So right now, I will say POC sitting at 2320. That's your key level of support right now. That's your biggest level that you want to remain above, because just like any volume profile, get above the low. Once you're above the POC, that's the level you want to hold, right? As long as we can hold above the POC, biggest level 2320. You do not want to lose that. Once you lose 2320, that's where you're probably going to be looking up. Once you lose 2320, that's where you're going to be looking down to the value area low. Still key support at the value area low, but at the end of the day, if we want to see this fill like Bitcoin did, you really want to hold above the POC to continue your journey up to the golden pocket and the 786, confluent with the value area high of the range. I will go more local here in a second, but I do just want to mark out the macro levels first. Daily naked points of controls. Yeah, so we're just still rejecting this daily naked point of control. Yeah, same thing as yesterday, right? Yeah, just still bing-bonging around on this naked point of control. Very similar to Bitcoin kind of testing its value area high. Very simply put, once we get above that daily naked point of control, there's really not much above us. I believe we looked at this yesterday. Yeah, there's really, as far as key levels, yeah, we tapped that monthly naked point of control as well. But there's not much between 2730 and I would say, $3,060, right? And if we pull up our VPVR, we might be able to further confirm this. Yeah, you can just see it in the VPVR as well, right? You get on top of this monthly naked point of control. Look at that volume gap into the golden pocket, right? And just from a Fibonacci standpoint, ignoring the volume profiles, ignoring everything except for the fibs, if I were just a Fibonacci trader here, that would be the big macro retracement, right? You get the bounce, you pull from the high to the low, you would be looking to eventually work your way up to that golden pocket retracement. That's your next major level, because if you're going to put in a macro lower high and a huge new lower low, that's the area where it would potentially come in at, right? Between the golden pocket and the 786. And if you thought ETH was dead, if you think ETH is dead, a lot of people, right? A lot of people get really, really confident about that, right? A lot of people are just like, it's dead. It's never going to pump again. It's going to zero. This is the cycle it dies. And maybe they're right. I could be wrong, right? I'm agnostic. I don't have an ego, right? That's very important in trading, right? If you have an ego, your ego will kill you in trading. I promise you that. But if it comes up here, it's time to you get bearish confirmations up here. It's probably time to sell the house and gig along on 1,000x leverage short ETH there. I'm not going to do that, obviously. But if you think ETH is dead, and you get a setup up here, and you are confident that it's dead, sell your house and short that thing to zero, because the fact that it's even going to make it up there if it's going to zero would be crazy. And if it's going to put in that lower high and the lower low, that would be the big level to look at. Not the camp that I fall in, right? But just saying that it kind of just adds to the reason why you want to look for price to go up there, right? It's just that retracement kind of has those magnetic tendencies, just like liquidity does, right? Or MPOCs. So big target there. And then you just look at this from a volume profile and Fibonacci standpoint. Whoops. Just look at it like this, right? Well, you're saying like, hey, your highest volume node within all this price action is really right here. Once you get above that high volume node, I would argue this is kind of similar to Bitcoin's POC of its macro range, right? That 97K zone, that massive high volume node. Once you get above that, right? And with these high volume nodes, you could just, I like the VPVR because it's very visual, right? Once you get above that VPVR, like, you know, if you come up to it, you're going to hit your head. But if you break through it, you're just going to bounce on it, right? So once you get above here and you start flipping this to support, pretty big fall off in volume. And where's that big next spike in volume? It's right in here on your golden pocket 786. So you get above that monthly naked point of control. I'll even pull that up just to kind of mark it out, right? Pretty much at the end of that high volume node. Flip that naked point of control. Could be a quick move into that golden pocket between about 3,060 and 3,163. Could be. That's what I would look for. Very simply put. And we're just finding some resistance on that monthly naked point of control. This is normal, right? VWAP on the 4-day is coming down, right? That's the one thing. We have to anticipate these higher time frame VWAPs rolling back over to the downside, right? Because we get those high time frame red dots, we are probably going to get pullbacks, right? And that's okay. Context is always going to be king. If money flow stays up and keeps coming into the green, we're going to look for higher lows and higher highs, right? But I would say the line in the sand here would be a break of the monthly naked point of control into the low volume gap, potentially for a 15% move into this golden pocket, potentially into the 786 at 3,500. Golden pocket starts at about 3,148. I don't know why I said it like that. But anyway, so yeah, that is, let's see. Shout out to Farrell said all analysts were wrong about this pump. I don't know. I don't shout out to Farrell's. I don't know if you're talking about me or not, but if you're watching the live stream down here, I feel like I was the only one saying this wasn't the bear market. Looking for those daily bull dips. I actually don't think I have the screenshots open anymore, but I literally have posts from the premium Discord. We'll just show this, and I don't really have anything to prove, but we might as well just do this because I think a lot of people don't like TA because they think that it's, they just don't understand it. But I will just say, let's see if I can pull this up real quick. Can't make it up, right? I'm not going to pretend. I go live every day. I can't hide, guys. I can't hide. If I thought that it was going to zero from here, I can't just come up the next day and be like, told you it was going to pump, right? I would just have to be like, well, we thought it was going to dump, and it pumped, right? But that's not what we were looking down here. We waited for this setup. We waited for this bullish divergence into the 786 for so long. So long. And you might say, well, that's what they all say. But let me go back here. I have to go even higher. Let's see. Showed it the other day. Actually, here it is. Here it is, right? But when analysts typically talk about stuff, I will just say this. Most people don't want to hear it, right? Because they're typically talking about bearish scenarios. So when we look at this, oh, whoops, I screenshotted the wrong thing. I got to screenshot the post. But when analysts look for stuff like this, right, they are usually ahead of what the market is feeling, right? When we anticipate drops down to much lower prices, right? It's kind of hard to see here, but there you go. We were all the way up here looking for the drop down into the 786 weekly naked point of control between $80,000 and $75,000. And not only that, we were looking. And again, we could have been wrong about this. This is the funny thing, right? Like, I think a lot of people like to prove that they were right, right? Like, I could have been wrong about this. We happen to be right. We were looking for this move to the downside. If you watch my 2025 prediction video, we talk about it as well. A drop down to 80 to 75K is not unwarranted, right? It's a bull market pullback. Everyone's going to think it's the bear market, but we're not going to think that, right? Because we have key support. And if we come down there and we see bullish confirmation, right? If we came down there and it looked bearish, we would have been, hey, this might be the bear market. But I was not in that camp. I said it every single day. But you can see here, don't believe me. February 27th. So far, our next trade for longs, I would really prefer a much bigger drop down to grab the huge chunk of liquidity in the 70,000s. This is when Bitcoin was trading at 84,000. Nobody wants to hear $70,000, at least on YouTube they don't. But no one wants to hear that when you're at $80,000. People are like, oh, this guy's an idiot. It's never going back to 70Ks. We're never going to see $70,000 again, right? If we get that brutal job, that's supposed to say drop, I assume, this could turn into a big swing trade. Confirmations are a bit hard to call right now, but I would really like to see high time frame bull divs. Daily bull div with money flow coming up would be really, really nice. There's the 786. There's your bull div. There's your money flow crossover. There's your bounce. So, again, I don't know. Shout out to Ferals. I don't know if you might not even be talking about me, but I do just want to point that out, right? Because I think analysts, I'm sure a lot of analysts will get it wrong. And listen, we could have come down here and not seen bull divs, right? In which case, I couldn't have shown that, right? I wouldn't have been like, oh, well, hey, in that case, we wouldn't have looked for the bounce, though, right? But, this is a long-term plan. And you can 100% use TA to predict high probability moves, right? So, yeah, I'm sure people were wrong about it. But I stood my ground down here, even though it's not great for views to say you're bearish when Bitcoin has just put in new all-time highs and got a correction, right? It's not popular to be like, hey, guys, we might be going for a bigger move down to $80,000 to $75,000. No one wants to hear that, right? But what happens? You get the move. And there you go, right? We've been looking for that forever. And we even talked about it on the live stream. So shout out to Ferals. You have to pay attention during those dumps, right? You can't just come back when it pumps. But anyway, let's continue on. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. What about a double top dead cap bounce, or are we continuing up? Shout out to Linda Life. Calling you mean like this being a dead cap bounce? Like double top dead cap bounce, massive nuke? Could be. Not impossible. I would say as of right now, I would still feel more bullish, right? I would need to see some kind of like significant break of market structure in order to kind of look for a bigger pullback like that. But yeah, as of right now, even if we pull back to 97K, and that's where you have to change your mind, right? Like once you break below this, it's like, well, hey, now this is looking more bearish, right? Because you can't just be bearish from here and be like, oh, we're definitely going to go down. Will you be right sometimes? Sure. But once you get stuck underneath this, you have to change your sentiment potentially, right? You have to be like, well, hey, maybe we can continue down because you've lost a key level of support, right? So there you go. Let's see. I still believe we're going higher. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to World says, I remember the days when everyone was calling for 60K. Yeah, and listen, like it's one thing. Yeah, I'm like not even, I feel like I talked about this too much, like to a fault on my channel. Like I explained almost every day, like I don't know why people would think this is the bear market, right? Because you didn't break your previous highs, right? Can't draw a straight line, right? There you go, right? We never broke these, like until you start breaking down in here, like there was no reason to think that Bitcoin's not in a bull market. And you might ask why. Well, market structure. That's what we were explaining as we were down here, right? And again, it all starts with a plan. That post in the Discord I just showed was from February 27th, right? So it all starts with a plan, right? And not even then. We were looking for that drop down in January. It took a long time to get it, but we did indeed get it, right? So it's not like you just go to every support level and then just get super bullish, right? We look for the continuation. We look for that dump before it even happens, right? Because money flow trends to the downside. This is why money flow is amazing, because it gives you direction. You could say, hey, money flow is trending out here, right? Price is going sideways. Money flow is leaving. If that comes down across into the red, it could be an early signal that we might be ready to break structure or break these lows and continue for a little bit more of a pullback. If we get that pullback, where would we be looking at? Well, we knew that we had our Fibonacci retracement, right? Where are we going to put in a higher low? If we're going to put in a higher high, where would the highest probability area, first highest probability area to put that higher low in at? It would be right here. That's why we were looking at that all the way up here, right? So it's not just like coming down to support and saying like, oh, we're going to bounce here, right? It's literally looking for the specific confirmations that we just happen to get, right? And also anticipating why we might get the move down. We had a lot of liquidity here, so we knew once we lost this low that it was probably going to be a fast, violent drop to the downside. That freaks a lot of people out. People think, oh my God, what's happening? Everyone's selling. No, there was a lot of liquidity here, and when you get stopped out, when you stop out all these longs, it's going to add that cascade of the moves down, because when you get stopped out of a long position, liquidate out of a long position, it creates a market sell. That's what gives you that big flush to the downside, those big liquidation wicks. And that's how you could predict these moves before they happen, right? And then you want to be ready, right? You're saying, well, hey, this move down is a lot of liquidations happening, right? So it's not that scary. You're just saying, well, all the longs are getting wrecked. And we have this key zone down here, which is going to be, right, you have your golden pocket, and then you have your 786, which are the two. Honestly, it's a big zone, right? But I look at them separately. But you look for the bounce either at the golden pocket. If it doesn't look good there, you look for a lower high and a lower low, which we did on this channel. You can go back and look at the videos, right? Or you could wait, and if it looks bad, you look for the lower high, lower low, come down in, put in the bullish divergences. Even here, right? When you bounce here, we look for a lower high and a lower low, right? Why? Well, we front ran the 786, and we didn't have beautiful bull divs. And money flow, more importantly, wasn't coming up, right? We have the bull div here, lower low, higher low, lower low, money flow coming out, right? That's not a beautiful confirmation. But when you put in this next bullish divergence, and it's not even a nice bull div, right? It's just kind of local. This bull div's much nicer, right? And then you have money flow coming up. And you break above a massive trend line, the whole thing, right? We literally look at this every day at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, it's you have to be able to see this stuff. And to be honest with you, even that does not mean that you're necessarily always going to bottom tick or every single long or short, right? Like, you might not be on the charts when this happens, right? You might not get your setup, which is actually what happened to me down here. I did not get my entry trigger down here, right? This is a long-term move, right? This looks like a quick move down because it's on the daily time frame. You go down to the 1 hour, right? And you have like a mess of is this it? Yeah, you have like a mess of price action in here, right? So, but it's very important to not only understand where you could see pullbacks come in at, because it takes the emotion and the fear away from dropping down, right? Understanding where the support comes in is very important, because again, literally everybody thought this was the bear market. And I just mean like the crypto like community, right? Like I had never gotten so many DMs and messages in chat asking me, is this the bear market, ever in my life than here, right? The second most messages I got was down here. And both answers were the same. Is this the bear market? It could be, anything can happen, but I don't think it is, right? When we come down here, I don't think it is, right? I could be wrong, and I'm always open about I could be wrong, right? Because I could, right? If we didn't get the bull divs down here, and we didn't get any bullish confirmation, we could have came down here, and we still could have got a bounce, and I would have looked for that bounce, right? But if we don't hold there, that's where I'd be like, okay, now we're probably, maybe now we're going to go into a bear market, right? So yeah. But anyway, let's continue on here. Bada boom. Bada bing. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Rob the Crypto Stop. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the alt list here. Let's see. Replace pin message. Bada boom. Let's see. Hey, alts are dumping right now. Same old. Shout out to Sam Camp, says, VPVR, is there no value area in the previous candles from the all-time high range? In this range? Or are you talking about... Yeah, shout out to Sam Camp. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what maybe you're talking about this range. But there is a value area up here. There's also a value area in here. Okay, let's continue on here. Do you think the CME gap's getting hit sooner or later after the bull run is done? Shout out to Mac Mula. Shout out to you, bro. Which CME gap are you talking about? Let me know. I know we have one at 91K. I'm not 100% sure exactly which one you're talking about. Let's see. I feel bull is still waiting for a pullback. Yeah, I would pretty much say the same thing, unless that pullback to the golden pocket was the last thing that we had. Make sure I didn't miss anything here. Lynn's Life says, I don't believe we're in a bear market. I'm just looking at that pattern. I'd prefer not to be in trouble with my money. I hope we break up. Yeah, me too. Shout out to Lynn's Life. I would prefer to break up as well. I always prefer to break up, guys. Like, I'm always a perma bull on crypto, right? Like, I always want it to go up. I hold a lot of crypto. Obviously, I want it all to go up, right? But I know sometimes, one time, people were getting upset in the chat because I was excited that we were dumping because we were in a short. They were like, this is unbelievable. It was no one in the mafia. It was just like, when we get a big dump, we get a lot of new people. And they're like, this guy's excited we're dumping. That's so insensitive. I'm just like, I don't know. How could you have that mindset? Like, wouldn't you want to know why I'm excited and how I'm making money when it goes down? So you could do it too. I don't know why people get mad. That's like super weird to me. Let's see. Okay, let's continue on here. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, so let's jump into our first altcoin. CME, there is a CME gap at 91K. That might be what you're talking about. At this point, I don't want to see that filled, to be honest with you. But we could come back down there. It is sitting, yeah, it's like a 91.8, something like, it's like right down here. Shout out to Dawn says, shows they don't understand futures trading when they're upset about going down. Yeah, shout out to Dawn. It's like the same thing about like when people are like, you just say it could go up or go down. And they're like, gotcha. And I'm like, yeah, 5,000% it can go up or down. And when people say that, it's funny because like no one really says it. I've had people say it to me, but like more often than not, I see other people getting that said to them. And it's like the people who say it think they like got them. And it's like, it's so embarrassing to me. I get like secondhand embarrassment because it's like, you think you got them, but all that does is expose how little you know, which is fine. That's a great thing. You always have to start knowing nothing before you learn. But the, like, I guess arrogance of just being like, this guy is just saying it could go up or down, not understanding that it's actually like your own, like, misunderstanding, or not misunderstanding, but lack of being informed. And it's like, people who don't know anything about investing or trading will be like, you're just saying it could go up or down, because they think that TA is like a magical thing that will just tell you if price goes up or down, because they hope that that is the case. So they can just see a signal, buy a coin, and make $1 bazillion, right? But that's just, we all know that. I mean, if you've been here for a minute, that's not the reality, right? Price action can 100% do anything. These bullish divergences at the low could have just not played out and dumped us to the downside. It's a game of probabilities, right? And if you are not, right, like let's just say I had to remain with my major sentiment, right? I was bearish from up here. I literally shorted $102,000, right? And we rode that down. If I just kept my bearish sentiment because I was bearish and I'm not allowed to change my sentiment, and so like, well, I was bearish and now I have to stay bearish. Even though I'm getting bullish divergences and money flow crossing up, I just have to remain bearish? That makes no sense, right? Why would you do that? You'll never make money. So yeah, anytime you hear somebody say that, like, oh, don't listen to analysts because they say it could go up or down, that person doesn't understand what's going on, right? It can go up or down. It's because it's the truth. But if you can understand if this, then that, if this happens, it will go up more likely than not. And if this happens, it will go down more likely than not. Then you could make money going up or down, right? That's why we love trading, because we're not slaves to the bull market, right? A lot of people will come in here and be like, what the heck? Everybody was bullish and now it's going down. And then they leave. And then by the time they come back, it's already up, right? So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's continue on. Shout out to Moses, says, Frankie, do you use moving averages, EMAs in any of your TA, or strictly volume profiles and fibbies? And of course, Market Cipher. Thank you, brother. Yeah, shout out to Moses. I will use moving averages. It's not a main part of my TA, to be quite honest. The closest thing to a moving average that I use on the daily is an anchored VWAP, right? Which isn't a moving average, but it's very similar. But no, I don't really use moving averages that much. Like sometimes I'll look at the bull market support band. But yeah, I used to use them a lot more. I don't use them. I don't use them that much anymore. It's not to say they don't work. But like, what's the one that everybody? I think it's is it the 50-day? Might be the 50-day, or maybe it's the 50-week. Yeah, like the 50-week moving average. This is like what a lot of people will look at for the health of the bull market. And my review of this is, heck yeah, why wouldn't you look at this, right? Just because I use it, don't use it, doesn't mean that it's not good, right? I mean, if you look at this, as long as you remain above this level, honestly, you break it here. That was really the start of the first big leg up. First big correction, what do we hold? 50-week moving average. Come up, come back down, and look at that, 50-week moving average. This is not what I was looking at. And this is why I always say there's so many shiny objects in TA and trading. Stick with what you like and learn that. Become an expert at that. Don't go chase that shiny object because I didn't even know that 50-week moving average was there. But what was I looking at? I was just looking at Fibonacci retracements. But more often than not, if you're looking at important Fibonacci levels, there's probably some kind of an important moving average there, right? Or some kind of a really important, I don't know, horizontal level, like whatever it is, right? All this stuff, like we're all analyzing the same charts with different tools, right? So it's like you're very likely going to get very similar levels to like whatever the big moving average is. So yeah. I don't personally use them, but it's not because they don't work. It's just I look at other stuff, and people will be like, but how would you, like, even in that case, right, that moving average, it's like, yeah, but how would you have known that we were going to bounce off that? Like, how could you not look at this? Because we know that every time we hit this, the bull market continues, right? Like, how could you know if it's going to continue if you're not looking at that level? Well, it's just simple, right? I'm just looking at a different form of TA. It's just as important of a level, just viewed through the Fibonacci standpoint, right? So there you go. Hopefully that helps somebody out there. All right, let's see. Yeah, shout out to World. There's some people that only trade moving averages. Sure, I bet there is. Yeah, that's why. Like, I don't like to. A lot of people will hate on strategies. Oh, you trade ICT concepts, you must never make money, or whatever it is, right? It's like, listen, if you're actually making money, that's why I don't say, like, I don't trade patterns. I'm very open about that. I'm very clear about why, right? Like, I don't just say I don't use it because I don't use it. I don't use it because of very specific reasons, right? But that doesn't mean if someone's out there making money trading patterns, I would never try to talk them out of that, right? Like, if you, and that's the truth, right? Like, if you found something that makes you money, you're probably not going to, like that's why I don't convince people, right? Like, if someone makes money trading patterns, keep doing that. Why would you want to learn something new, right? Like, if you're actually making money, right? But a lot of the people, and people do trade patterns. I look at patterns. I just don't trade based off them, right? It's much difficult. If you ever tried to trade patterns, it's much more difficult than a course would make you think, right? Or a tutorial would make you think. But they are definitely valid. Tell Biddy to go up. Shout out to the Dusty Hunt. Come on, Biddy. I'm going to call Satoshi in a minute. All right, let's go into our next altcoin. Let's take a look at XRP. And, yeah, same as yesterday, right? We've gotten the big move up, and we came up to tap that value area high. We got the rejection. We came into our area where we were looking for a higher low. POC, key level of support, 786 golden pocket. Key area to look for a higher low before looking for a higher high. And we're rejecting the value area high once again. So nice to see the support on our key level there. But we still need to break out of this value area high. Biggest level of resistance, biggest key level of resistance, 264, value area high. We've gotten knocked down twice. But I would say 90-minute money flow coming into the, not crossing into the red, but coming out with our daily red dot. You might be able to cool off here just a little bit more. You have the slightest bearish divergence here. Not even. I don't even think that's a valid bear div. Yeah, it's kind of an exaggerated bear div. It depends. If you come down quickly, that might lower a little bit. But either way, money flow is in the green. That is good for the continuation of the trend. Not instant up necessarily, but we could cool off. Maybe bing bong sideways before. If you get the red dot, you might get a little bit more of a cool off. But as long as that money flow stays in the green, I would look for the pullback as of right now with the daily money flow up here, looking for higher lows and higher highs. Simply put. Other than that, yeah, I mean, I would just, hopefully we could just rip through it. But you got your 16-hour red dot, 1 hour money flow about to cross over into the red. Yeah, I mean, this looks, from a technical standpoint, it would be, in my opinion, I would look for a little bit more turbulence to the downside here. But that's not, and again, this is very hard to explain, right? Especially to new people. When Bitcoin starts moving, we get new people. It's very hard to explain to them. Yes, I would be bearish to look for another move down, but that does not make me bearish overall, right? You have to zoom out. So maybe a little bit more bearish for a little bit more of a cool off here on the 1 hour. Money flow crossover into the red, but overall, you know, even if that daily red dot prints, that money flow stays in the green, I would be looking for higher lows and potential breakout. Once we get out of this range, it's very hard to say how this will play out. But once we get out of here, to be quite honest with you guys, there's not much above us bringing us back into this Fibonacci extension zone. Yeah, I mean, you have a pretty nice volume gap here. Usually, you will move very fast through those low volume gaps. Quick move down equals quick move up. So once you break into that low volume gap, we might be able to get a quick move up into our next Fibonacci zone, which is sitting between 314, 332, and 352. That's that next Fibonacci zone. And that low volume gap is looking pretty saucy, in my opinion. Money flow still at this moment looks good. Sure, it could fake out, but it looks good as of right now. But VWAP's coming down, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see a little bit more turbulence there. Let's see. Let's see. H-bar, render, fetch. Let's take a quick look at Ondo. I see a lot of people asking about Ondo, so I'll just jump into Ondo really quickly. So, yeah, I mean, this is the same thing. A lot of the alts look exactly the same. Red dots looking to print. Money flow still in the green, right? This is a decent sign, right? This is what we want to see. As long as that money flow can stay in the green, we could look for higher lows and higher highs. And we actually took a look at Ondo yesterday. We came up. We just barely front ran that daily naked point of control. We're getting a pullback. This is your goal. Actually, technically, this is going to move a tiny bit. Golden pocket, value area high, anchored VWAP, confluence sitting right here. That is a big level to watch. If you continue down, that would be an area where I would look for a potential higher low to continue the trend to the upside, assuming that, you know, the red dot's not just starting to print, right? You would need confirmation there, but that would be key zone number one that I would look at, 94.80 to 92.46. Now, you have to be careful here because once you lose that, you are technically getting accepted into this previous area of value. This could potentially bring you down to the POC, which does sit at about 87 cents in confluence with this daily naked point of control, and your 786 is also pretty close to that level as well. Once you lose that, next key level is technically, I would honestly start to, let me just hide this stuff real quick. Drop it in a folder. Right, once you lose that value area, right, once you lose that POC, at that point, I would pretty much be looking at the larger range, right? You know, if we take away the local levels and just pull that fib one more time, right? We'll just look at it from a Fibonacci standpoint. You know, hopefully you could bounce off that golden pocket 786 zone. That's kind of zone number one. And then once you lose that, I would look to hopefully hold above that POC. Fibonacci zone sits. This is probably a little bit of a simpler way to look at it. This would be the first zone you would hope to put a higher low in at, sitting between 89 and 94 cents. If you lose that, I would be looking to come down to this daily naked point of controls / POC, sitting between 87 and 82 cents, almost 83 cents, right? So those are the key levels I would be looking at on the way down. Key level to not lose here will definitely be the POC. You do not want to lose the POC, right? And we looked at Bitcoin dominance yesterday. We looked at Total 3 yesterday and the day before. Those are looking like they're starting to shape up, which is very, very, very nice to see, guys. Very nice to see. But just understand, you have to be willing, again, like to what I was saying before, when you first start and you see analysts talk about price could go up or go down, it's like, I get it, right? It's like, how could you say it's going to go up or down? Like, how is that even useful? But that's because those people are seeking an easy, tell me if it's going up or down, right? And if you just say it's going to go up with no chance of going down, right, that's just bad information. And, you know, we have made some very, very good calls where it's like we look at a bearish case or a bullish case, and then we change it, or we're like super bullish, right, and then we switch our sentiment because we have new information on the chart. And we save ourselves from taking really bad long positions, right? So it's the same thing here, right? Like if we start breaking down some serious levels, it could flip very quickly, right? But again, I would say Total 3, Bitcoin dominance, Bitcoin in general, it is looking like things are shaping up a bit better, right? But that can change. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on Ondo. Technically, if you do lose that POC, you do have the daily naked point of control at 73 cents and the value area low at 65 cents. But for the most part, like I said, you know, money flow stays in the green. You're looking for higher lows and higher highs, right? You don't want to start putting in lower lows. So yeah, that's what I'd be looking at on Ondo. Pretty nice. Let's see. Sol, can it hit 180? Let's take a quick look. Solana to 180. I mean, I think it could definitely hit 180. I mean, we already hit 183. But yeah, I mean, I would be looking on Solana. I mean, you do have to understand. Yeah, like this is nice. We're deviating above the volume profile. We tested that value area high literally to the dollar. Get above the high. That's your key level of support. And this is like what I was talking about before. If I'm going to short above a value area high, a take profit for me, the first take profit's always the value area high because things like this can happen. You could flip support, right? And if you have money flow coming up and you're anticipating the continuation of the uptrend, you would look for support here. So probably closing the whole trade, right? But if we break out here, let's just say we continue up, even if we come down to test the value area high again, right? Or I should say this, right? We're deviating above the high. This is typically looked at as an overvalued asset, right? Meaning this is expensive compared to the relative price action, right? But this is typically where we want to look for shorts. And sure, you could look for shorts up here. But to be honest, looking at the daily chart, you know, a big bearish sign for a big range like this, if you're going to deviate above a high, right, and then you're going to get accepted back in, go to the POC, and then fill that range in full to the low, you want a bearish divergence of some kind up there, like a high time frame bear div. You don't have the daily bear div, which is very, very nice. Momentum is just continuing to come to the upside. 16-hour bear div is printing, right? So, okay, that's not the best, to be honest with you. You don't have the daily bear div, but the 16 and the 12-hour and the 10-hour, 8 hours confirmed. But you are holding up pretty nicely. And remember, money flow is always going to indicate the longer-term trend. 2-day money flow is attempting to come up into the green here. I would like to see that for the continuation out of this volume profile. Like I said, if you are going to leave a volume profile, you really want to see money flow come into the green. A lot of people will say, well, hey, you could trade these ranges beautifully. I understand the volume profiles. But Frankie, let me ask you a question. How do you know when it's going to break out? And at the end of the day, there's no immediate signal that's just going to let you know when you're going to break out. Obviously, I wish there was, but you could see these higher time frame money flow crossovers are oftentimes what you like to see. You get a money flow crossover here, you still get a little bing bong, but you wind up continuing the overall trend to the upside, right? Then we get back into the range, money flows and crosses into the red, you get the full fill to the low. Same thing as on Bitcoin that we were looking at forever. Bullish divergences below the value area. This is looked at as bullish, reclaim the value area low, into the POC, into the high. Same thing up here. If we get the cool off, and again, I can't ignore this, 16 and 12-hour bearish divergences printing is a bearish sign, right? So that could cool you off. If you get stuck inside this volume profile, not what you want to see for a big continuation up, to be honest. But you can come down here and, reclaim and send it back up, right? You could fake out back into the range and then come back up, stick support, and come to the upside. Again, with the 2-day money flow, daily money flow in the green, 2-day money flow trying to come up, 3-day money flow. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little cool off here with the VWAPs, right? We've been looking at this forever, right? Like ever since these VWAPs started coming down, right? Once those VWAPs do come down and cross over the 0 line, giving us that red dot, like anticipate a little bit of a correction. But I would say, I'm not saying I would necessarily want to come all the way back to 157, but that would be your golden pocket retracement from the last impulse. You would need to stay at that point, right? You could look for the bounces, but you just have to understand you do have resistance right above you. Hopefully, you can reclaim and get the breakout. But you do just have to understand any longs that you take down there is going to be looked at as right into resistance. It's a little bit sketch. So I would just prefer, ideally, you hold above the 786. And then once you get accepted back in here, the chances of coming down to the POC are pretty high, right? Deviate above the high, back in, POC, value area low. Deviate above the high, back in, POC, value area low. Back in, POC, value area low, back to the high, back to the low, right? So, you just have to understand the laws of the volume profile. Doesn't mean you can't bounce off that golden pocket, but I would prefer not to come back into this range. I would much rather hold support on the value area high. That's what I would look at. That is sitting at about $166. And that would be, that's kind of that would be the next, that'd be the next major support, in my opinion. Lose it, I'd be looking down towards about 157.47. Could you bounce there? Sure, in this Fibonacci zone, higher low, higher high. But just understand you have that key resistance above because you're back inside your range. So there you go. We'll see if those divs can bring us down on Solana a little bit, or if we're just going to invalidate and slam to the upside. Key level to the upside, whether, maybe we pull back first. But if we do pull back up, I will say macro golden pocket sitting at 219.14. And the 786 up here at 251 is going to be the next major target to the upside. All right. From the low here, we knew once we got above the value area low, flipped it to support, POC, and the value area high was going to be very likely to get hit. Once we break above here, that's the next big target, right? Just like the value area high is the big target once you break in here, right? Next big target once we break out is probably going to be golden pocket 786. Now, we do have other levels on the way there, obviously. Pull up the... Yeah, you do have this little mini range here, right? So this doorway to higher price is going to be big. I wouldn't say it's a major target, but I would say it's a major level to flip to support to get into your next target, right? Because once you flip that value area low at 191, next likely place for price to go is the POC. That's in confluence with your golden pocket. Flip the golden pocket, you look to the 786. And once you flip the POC, you look for the value area high. Both those levels are also confluent. So that is what I would look for if we just come up from here. But again, I would be careful based off the high time frame bear divs, right? You could get a little bit of a cool off. So watch those levels down below. Very, very, very clear. Yeah, anchored VWAP held as well. Let me pull this to the bottom of the range. Yeah, you would hope to hold on top of that value area high. Me personally, I prefer to stay on top of the value area high. But if not, you have the fib levels down there. Let's see. Shout out to Mads and Lizzie. Says maybe millions, but it will take time. I want a handful hit. Shout out to Mads and Lizzie. I'm not sure if you're talking about Bitcoin being in the millions or if you want millions. Just won 100K and I am gone to the Philippines. Hey, shout out to shout out to Mads and Lizzie. Let's go. Maybe we'll take a look at Pengu. I'm actually interested in taking a look at Pengu as well. I want a quantum computer to do my trading. Shout out to SET. Let's go, baby. Let's go. I don't know how lucrative that would be, right? Like, think about that. A lot of people say, I always talk about this when they talk about AI taking jobs. I always say, like, trading is not... AI can definitely take traders' jobs, but I don't know how sustainable that would be. I don't think it would last very long. Shout out to Sanji Sniper said when Frankie coin. Probably never. I'm not a I don't chill. I'm not gonna. I've never seen someone launch a meme coin and it end well. Shout out to Rob Dirt says almost nothing is better than some Frankie TA. Hey, shout out to Rob Dirt. I appreciate that, bro. And yeah, I really do appreciate that, man. Let's see. Where do I see ETH in 2 months? Shout out to Semano. ETH in 2 months. I'll be honest. Timing-wise, from someone who has literally come up on this live stream every single day for the past 3 years, maybe longer than that. I don't even know the exact tally. And as somebody who stands behind my TA and doesn't just guess, right? I put actual work into these charts, and we're right most of the time. I'll say this, right? It is very hard to time the move, right? And actually, I'm gonna bring this up again, right? Because I think this is worth saying. This is like worth talking to people about, because a perfect example. This picture I just talked about when someone said everybody was wrong at the low. I just have to show this, right? Because again, I could have been wrong at the low. I have been wrong before, but for this particular scenario, it's important that you understand that, like. And this is, I like that you asked that question because it is extremely hard to call the timing of stuff, right? And here you can actually see, I can't tell because I can't like zoom in a ton on this chart without it. Like, it looks like this was pretty accurately timed because this is April, right? So like, I think we bottomed out on like April 7th. So like, it's hard to see because you can't see the exact dates. But I don't even think about timing here, right? It's very hard to predict that. We don't know if you're going to get if it's going to look like this, if we're going to range around up here forever and then come down. It's very hard to call the time. I would honestly say this is a little bit more luck than anything. The fact that I drew this to about April, right? Like, I don't really take the timing into consideration. I know you could use like time fibs, but for me personally, it is a lot harder to predict the exact timing of things than it is to predict the actual like guide or route that price will take to get to a certain level, or just certain levels in general, right? Like, we knew, right, on Ethereum, we knew very clearly, we talk about it forever, this was the level to break above to get the move into the POC and potentially higher prices towards 27, 28, 29, 3,000, 3,500, and 4,000, right? That indeed ended up being beautiful, right? We come up to the value area low, we break in, we went right to the POC. It's very hard to tell if that's going to happen in 1 month, 2 months, if it's going to rip in one day. It's very hard to say that, the timing. But I would say over the next 2 months, assuming that everything remains bullish, I think there's a good chance that you're either at the golden pocket or the 786, which would be between $3,000 and $3,500. But if we get a deeper correction and the market gets boring, right? During the summer, you do get some boring price action, right? And you kind of wiggle around here for months, right? It might take a long time to get up there. It really depends on exactly what the price action decides to do. So there's just so many variables trying to figure out time. Sometimes you get it close like we did on the drop down to 75K. Sometimes you're way wrong on the time, right? And I see this on my short-term scalp setups in the Discord all the time, right? Sometimes we'll wait for a setup to happen, price action, right? I'll be like, hey guys, if we come on down, if we come up to this level and we SF, this isn't what we were looking at, but I'm just saying, hey, if we SFP this level, we could look for a short, right? This is a nice level to SFP. If we can come up here, SFP, look for a move down, right? You might come up, and then you might come up, not hit the level, come back down, bing bong around, right? Then come up, and then like 2 months later, not usually on the scalps it's that long, but then a couple days later, you come up, SFP the level, and it plays out. Like you could say, well, hey, that trade setup's still valid. It just didn't set up where we thought it would, right? Like we don't know when price is going to come up to that level. So it's really hard to predict timing. But I would say if it remains bullish, I mean, look at it this way, right? Like you went from 1,700 to 2,700 in. I mean, this is 9 days, but this is, it's less than that, right? It's only to here, right? So in like a week, we did this move, right? So in the next 2 months, I mean, if things remain bullish, I mean, it would make sense that you can make it up here, right? But again, bearish divergences, right? You have your 90-minute money flow crossing over into the red, daily red dot about to print, or no, daily red dot confirmed. 2-day red dot about to print. So, yeah, you might cool off here a little bit. But, yeah, I would say, over the long term, over the next 2 months, as long as we don't, like, break down out of this value, if we stay above $2,100, I would say good chance that you hit at least one of these other two targets. If you lose the value area low, it's like, well, hey, this is a little bit more bearish now. Maybe we're going to go for a bigger move down. So, yeah. Hopefully that helps you out. 4K, yeah, I mean, 4K is definitely possible in 2 months for sure. Let's see. Yeah, day to day, it's hard. Shout out to Seth. Yeah, it is hard. And again, sometimes you can get it close. I actually didn't realize until just now showing that picture that April was right there. I was going to use that as an example of like, I didn't think, I was thinking to myself, I probably didn't get the timing close on that, but it just wound. And again, like it's not because I'm a wizard, right? I mean, it is because I'm a wizard, guys. I have a crystal ball. No, I'm just kidding. But I would argue that's more luck that I got it close to April, right? It's just, I mean, I've been looking at the charts for a long time. I kind of know what the fractals look like, but I mean, it's really just more luck getting that timing like that. Pengu bounce. Yeah, we'll take a look at Pengu in a second. I'm in an ETH long since 2580. What would you do? Shout out to Squad Busters 2580. In a long since 2580. I don't know. Shout out to Squad Busters. Super difficult. I don't know the exact situation that you're in. I don't know the position size. I don't know your trading plan. I don't know your thesis on why you took the trade or where you think it's going to go. You could be right. You could be wrong. I don't know. But, I mean, if I longed here and I didn't take profit, I would be stopped out at break even, to be honest. That's not to say, I don't know, money flow coming out, fresh red dot on the 90-minute. I can't tell you what to do with your trade. What I say could be wrong, and in that case, you're going to wish you listened to yourself. I could be right. In that case, you're going to wish you listened to me. But I think the bottom line is, like, you can't really – I can give you my thoughts on it. I wouldn't say react off of this because this is me. And, again, I don't know the details of your trade, which makes it really difficult for me to – there's so much that goes into a trade, like, where you're looking to hold that for, swing trade. Is it a scalp? Is it high leverage? I need to know more information. But for me personally, like if I were just generally entering a trade here, I would never enter a trade here, to be honest. 2580. Yeah, like I would only enter on like a pullback or something. Very rarely. I will sometimes enter on a breakout, but I would never just enter on a pump. I usually enter on the lows. But if I entered at 2580, I mean, and I was looking, let's say I was looking for it to go up here and it never made it up there. I mean, Yeah, I mean, really depends on your it depends on so much, right? Like, depends on what your target is, right? Because if your target is here, where's your stop loss, right? Well, your stop loss is either going to go below this tiny little swing low here, or it's going to go like below this low. That's not a great risk to reward. You're not going to want to ride the trade all the way back. I would not want to ride the trade all the way back down there. So for me personally, I would have probably entered, right? Yeah, like I don't know where your stop, again, I don't know what time frame you entered on, but yeah, like maybe you're entered here. Yeah, I mean, your stop for me, like your real stop loss would have to go down here. So that just wouldn't be a place I would enter. But let's assume you entered here with I would probably be, let's say you look for it to come here. You didn't take profit and it's back to, I didn't take profit and it came back down here. I would be stopped at break even. Based off the way I trade, I would be stopped at break even at this point. So yeah, but it's really hard to say. There's a lot of detail. Who said that? Shout out to Squad Busters. Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of nuance to it, right? Context is really everything. But yeah, for me, if I entered here, I'd probably just be stopped at break even. Be quite honest. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Jack. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He said, watch out for that fake Tony D when you join in Discord. LOL. Love y'all. Shout out to Jack. Guys, please be careful. Be careful with the fake Frankie Candles and the fake Tony Ds. We will never ask you to send us your seed phrase or anything like that. I will never hit you up and tell you, send me money, I'll trade for you. Ever. I don't do that for my own family, right? So yeah, just be very, very careful out there, guys. We will never ask you for anything unless like we're helping you get into the Discord. Just like be careful. Don't click links out there. Make sure you're talking to the right people. There's a lot of scammers out there and they're crazy. Shout out to Perry. Welcome in, bro. Thank you for being here. And Jack, thank you for that super chat. Protecting the Mafia, baby. I love it. I love it. Shout out to Crypto Pollo and Dave Digital. What is going on, guys? Welcome in. Welcome in. Like Fort 14 is Dave Digital. Smash that like button, guys. I think we have at least 700 people in here, probably a little bit more. Smash that like button. Let's run it up to 550 in the next 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Who counts like that? Somebody call the FBI. Who counts like that? 3, 2. Who counts like that? 3, 2, 1. Hit the like button. I don't know. 1, 2, 3. Have I not made a 3 in a long time? I broke this hand though. So it's hard to make a 3 with that hand. But anyway, yo, shout out to Blockchain Domain. Thank you for the super chat. Said, send me your money and I'll trade for you. I'm going to lose it, but send it to me anyway. Shout out to Blockchain Domain. Let's go. I appreciate you so much, bro. Thank you for the super chat. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, people, I have people ask me all the time, hey man, like if I give you $10K, can you trade it and then we'll split the profit? I'm just like, dude, No, because like a lot of people think that you just win every trade. People think that, although sometimes it does feel like trading can be an infinite money glitch, it's a lot of people just don't see the risk in it. They think because I think a lot of people think once you learn how to trade and you're successful at it, that you just, I think people think that the end goal in trading is to be able to get on the chart and say, it's going up now, buy, and you're just going to be right every time. That's not how trading works. And yeah, it's like, yeah. And then they get mad if you lose the money, right? It'd be hard for me to like just blow 10K of someone else's money. But and then the other thing is too, it's like I don't really need the capital either. It's like trade my own money. But yeah, it's crazy. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Runners for Nerds said, I bet every time we get a little pullback, Frankie's like, here we go again. Another person long in the top. I've got to give advice to. Shout out to Runners for Nerds. No, no, and I think it's okay, right? Like I've longed so many tops, right? The only reason I'm able to do this every day is because of all the tops that I have longed and all the bottoms that I have shorted, right? Like I've made every trading mistake 100 times over again, right? I'm a thick-headed Italian, and I really, really do think that that's why I'm able to help the Mafia so much, especially in the premium Discord. I have so many people say like, dude, it's like you're inside my head. You just answered all my questions exactly how I wanted them answered. And it's because I've been in that exact situation, right? I've actually been a horrible trader. I've actually done this. So it just makes it easy for me to relate because I've been there. I'll be like, hey, I bet you enter your trades and you get stopped out right before it plays out in your direction you originally thought. And people are like, how'd you know that? I'm like, because that happened to me, and I figured out how to fix it. And now I'm going to show you how to fix it. So yeah, it's no, it does happen a lot. Shout out to Runs for Nerds, totally. But it's never a problem for me. I'm happy to help people, right? This is why I have my channel. I enjoy teaching and helping people, even if they're making what seems to be a beginner mistake, right? It's yeah, I mean, everybody's got to go through that for sure. You have to suck at something before you're good at something, right? Let's see. If the candle is in the top third of your chart or screen, maybe don't go long. Shout out to stupid Bitcoin. Yeah. I mean, I try to say that every day, right? Like, you know, I said it famously on the last rip, specifically on XRP. Not only on the live stream, but in my personal life. I had everybody saying, oh my God, should I sell my other altcoins and buy XRP? And I try to teach, right? I try to say, well, look at it. It went up already 660%. Is that somewhere you want to buy? And their thought process, which I don't blame them for, is, well, this coin's not pumping and this one is. But there's no patience, right? It's like, well, it already ripped. You already missed the move. Could you long here and then wind up in profit at some point? Yes. But more often than not, you're going to get that pullback. And I always try to tell people not to buy the top. But I honestly think anyone could tell you not to buy the top. But for you to learn that lesson, you have to buy the top. Probably 5 times, right? Before you finally start realizing, like, because the FOMO is real. I still get FOMO. I just don't react off of it, right? When I see XRP ripping, I got a big bag of XRP. When I see XRP ripping, I'm not FOMOing back into XRP. I'm like, am I thinking like, oh man, I probably don't own enough XRP? Sure, right? But am I just buying up here? Absolutely not. Might I buy on a bunch of a bigger dump? Maybe, right? I haven't. Just to be fully transparent, I didn't buy any extra XRP, but you know, if I wanted to, right? Like if I got a dip, like could I pick up some extra? Maybe. But it's just like I always say it like this. There's no reality that exists where I'm gonna like long the top of a green candle like this. Again, could you long in here and try to catch the rest of the ride? Sure, but what's your plan, right? If you're just longing because price is going up, I'm gonna take a wild guess and say you don't have an actual trading plan, right? You're probably just longing, hoping for number to go up, and you don't know where to take profit, and then number go down, and they get scared. And they can't sell, right? They're just like, or they do sell at a loss, and then number go up. They try to long again. Number go down. They lose again. Number snap back up. Now we're going long, wrecked, right? So it's just never a good idea. And then when we're down at lows, perfect example is Ethereum. Everybody just thinks it's dead down here. And I'm just thinking like, if anything, you would be looking for bounces on Ethereum, right? Or you're definitely not selling your bag down here, right? But nobody wants to hear that down there, right? But it is what it is, right? Like human emotion is human emotion. So yeah, there will never be a shortage of people being needed to be told not to buy the top. And I'll be here to do it every time. I want to save as many Mafia members as I can. And we will. We have done it, and we will continue to. Ride the wave or move to stables. Yes, absolutely. 100%. I think one of the hardest things for a new trader to do is to watch price go without them. I think it's the hardest thing for them to do. I think it's worse than them losing a trade. It was for me. I know it was for me. I had a harder time watching price go without me than I did when I was in a trade at a massive loss. That was my toxic trait. I was just like, I could not watch price go without me. I would just FOMO in and lose all my money, right? So yeah, I struggled a lot more with greed than fear. If I lost money, whatever. I don't care. I was just chasing money. If you chase money, it will run from you. I promise. But anyway, let's continue on here. Let's take a quick look at HBAR. We took a look at Ondo. We took a look at Solana. We took a look at XRP. We took a look at ETH. Let's jump into HBAR real quick. I got to make an HBAR chart. I think this is old. This is an old chart. I'm not going to be able to find this. Mexi. There it is. Okay. Let's see. All right, so for HBAR, yeah, I mean, this is really the only small volume profile that we could look at. We could also pull this as a larger volume profile. I wish I had a little bit more, few more candles in here, to be honest. Let me pull it up on Binance real quick. Pull this range. I'll just pull the larger range. I'm not going to cover the scalp levels on HBAR. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so this would definitely be the volume profile I would personally watch. Let's see here. Daily. Yeah, man, you didn't get the daily dibs. You didn't get the daily dibs down here, which is interesting. But, Yeah, I mean, listen, you came up here 2 year. Whoops. Give me that box. Bothers me. There we go. So we came into the value area low. We got rejected. Now we're back in. I mean, hey, this is for sure a doorway to higher prices, right? Doorway to higher prices. Boom. I mean, this is the volume profile. Value area low sitting at 19 cents, 25 cents at the POC, and then 36 cents at the value area high. This is what I would look for. As long as you stay above this value area low, I mean, to be honest, it's kind of gotten late acceptance into the volume profile compared to a lot of other things. I would watch this as your key support. If you cool off, this is your level that you want to hold. Sitting between 19 cents and 18 cents. Come back down, retest this. That's your opportunity to look for a higher low and a higher high into the point of control of the macro range at 25 cents. That is something that could be looked for if we get the cool off. If not, like maybe you just keep ripping up. In that case, your key level is the POC to the upside. But if you cool off, I would be looking for potential bounces here if market cipher calls for it. Daily red dot printing. You also have a daily bear div. Yeah, so you might be able to cool off here with that daily bear div printing. Higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves. Higher highs, I know it's a garbage line, lower highs. Money flow, cruising to the upside. Not too bad. Crosses over into the green, I would look for the continuation up. This is honestly, again, it takes some time for this money flow to work itself out, but once that crosses into the green, your anticipation will be higher lows, higher highs through the rest of the volume profile. Simply put. Money flow will indicate the overall trend. So we need that daily money flow crossover. That would be very nice. Daily red dot is printing. 90-minute money flow crossover into the red. This is a market cipher B 1/16th bearish setup. This could potentially give you a little bit of a continuation down. I'd be interested in that value area low golden pocket 786 zone for a bounce, assuming it doesn't look like absolute hot trash down there. But we won't know that until we get down to the level. Maybe we'll be down there tomorrow on the live stream. Let's see. Shout out to Spiritual Trade. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you so much. He says, is there a VWAP you can anchor manually? Shout out to Spiritual Trade. Trader. I think it. Tradey? I don't know what that says. But shout out to you, bro. I appreciate the super chat. And yes, there is. Anchored VWAP will allow you to anchor your VWAPs wherever you want. Very nice. There you go. Pretty simple answer there. Usually my answers are long-winded, but there you go. Anchored VWAP. Sitting here in trading view under your projection toolbox or tool draw. Right here. Right above the fixed range volume profile. Our two favorite tools here. So there you go. Hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Spiritual Trading Podcast. Says, wow. There you go. Simple question, simple answer, baby. Shout out to Tony Roaz. Let's go, baby. Said, no more chasing green candles. We don't chase the green candles, guys. We will catch the red candles and enjoy the green candles. Don't chase those green candles. They will run from you. I promise you. What's my favorite indicator? Shout out to NP. It would have to be a tie. Yeah, I'll be honest. It's really hard to say. Market Cipher B is the indicator. I use it as my oscillator. My oscillator I like to keep on my chart 24/7. It doesn't live on the actual chart. It keeps my candlesticks clean. It gives me money flow. Huge part of my analysis. Shout out to Market Cipher. If you guys want to check out Market Cipher, you can check the link in the description down below to save 20%. We use it every single day. I've used it before I knew Crypto Face. I used it before I ever met him. I used it before I ever had a YouTube channel. I'm not like sure we have a discount, but it's beneficial for the Mafia, obviously. But this is not just like, hey, we're going to pay you to promote our indicator. I've used this indicator for many years, and it is one of the best. 100%. I mean, you guys know that. I use it every single day. And if you've ever used it, you know how good it is. So yeah, 100% Market Cipher is going to be one of them. And then my other favorite indicator is going to be Lux Algo. Lux Algo, I use the indicators that are on the actual chart. So I do turn this on and off. I have templates up here to switch back between Market Cipher and Lux Algo. So I would say Market Cipher and Lux Algo are my favorite. But it's kind of hard to say, right? Because if you want to call a anchored VWAP an indicator or a fixed range volume profile an indicator, I consider those trading tools, not trading indicators. It's very hard, right? Like, but I would say like Lux Algo and Market Cipher are my favorite. Money flow is absolutely huge for me, right? Money flow is typically what indicates the much bigger moves, in my opinion. So yeah, those are my favorites. I have videos about all of them on my channel, so I explain how I use them. And if you want a free indicator, I would say this 100% the best free indicator that you could possibly use is my indicator, Frankie Candles Essentials. It's free. There's no sign up for this, nothing. I have nothing to benefit from this other than giving this to the Candle Mafia in cooperation with Lux Algo. They actually made the indicator. I just helped design it. And it's killer, guys. It's killer. It is simply a volume profile with added sauce, right? Literally added sauce, right? I mean, this is kind of a bad example to pull it on, but it's a volume profile. It marks out divergences with these sauce cans, which will let you know when you're getting those bullish confirmations outside of value area, because you guys know when you deviate below a volume profile, it's going to be looked at as a, excuse me, it's going to be looked at as a undervalued asset. Once you have those bullish divergences, it's probably time to start looking for some longs, and that's what those sauce cans mean. You cannot trade it as a signal. It is not a signal, right? You have to understand the TA still, but auto Fibonacci levers. There's a ton of different settings you could change in here. You could use any indicator that you want to pull your divergences from, right? So typically I'll either use wave trend, or you could use the RSI, or you could even use Market Cipher B, and that way it will only mark out divergences that are on Market Cipher B. So yeah, go check that out. You can literally search my name right now and get it on your chart right this second. No strings attached, no nothing. So that's another one. That one's good because it's free. Let's see. Shout out to Stupid Bitcoin, said least favorite indicator, Elliott waves. Shout out to Stupid Bitcoin. Yeah, I'll be honest. I feel like I kind of want to start incorporating Elliott waves more into my long-term analysis. I think Elliott waves are good for like long-term analysis, and I don't really use them as often. But they are useful. Shout out to Spiritual Tradie. Thank you for the super chat. Says, which VWAP specifically by who? This is just on TradingView. This is not in the indicator section. This is just on the side of your TradingView toolbar, anchored VWAP. I don't think you need a paid version. You might need a paid version. If you're not seeing it right here, it might be because you need a paid version of TradingView. All you see is auto anchored. Yeah, you might be searching in the wrong spot. You got to come here to your toolbar, not the indicator section. And if you don't see it here in the toolbar, it might be because you need to have a paid version of TradingView. It's the only other thing I can think, but it should be right here next to your fixed range volume profile. Shout out to Dab and Flow, says for Elliott Wave, I watch D-Wald. He's so good. Shout out to D-Wald. I'll have to look him up. Maybe he could teach Frankie Candles a thing or two. But Frankie Candles is my main watch. Shout out to Dab and Flow. I appreciate you, bro. Elliott waves? Who's he waving to? Yo, you guys are crazy. But let's take a quick look at Pengu. I was doing good on my Pengu long trade. Can you take a look? Wow, that's... Shout out to Bullish on Parade. Get out of my head, dude. What the heck was that? Did you... Maybe my brain subconsciously saw Pengu when I looked at the chart and it was your chat. That was weird. That was weird timing. But anyway, let's see here. Pengu going to probably $150. I'm just kidding. Let me try to pull this up. I think I saved this. No, that's peak. Peak back out of its bear market range now. Do I not have Pengu on here? I guess I don't. We'll take a quick look at Pengu. Kind of went rogue off the list here today. But that's okay. Sometimes when people request a lot, it's probably the one we want to look at anyway. Let's see. Whoops. Okay. So Pengu, we actually used to. We haven't looked at this in a while. This is super not old price action. Interesting. So we did actually look at this recently. I don't even remember looking at this recently. We look at so many coins that it is like impossible for me to remember exactly what we look at. But this range is pretty, I wouldn't say irrelevant, but it is just pretty small at this point. So, listen, it is, I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit difficult on Pengu because it just went down like so long. It's hard to grab significant levels from these types of charts, but I will pull up. Let me see if I can get some Naked points of controls here real quick. Okay, so we are rejecting a weekly naked point of control. So I'm just actually going to pull this. And I'm going to go tapped weekly MPOC. You have another one right up here. See the daily. Yeah, we just tapped a daily too. You got a tapped daily up there as well. Boom. All right, so we just did tap into some resistance. Now, this is now tapped, but I am just going to mark this out just so we know that this was significant resistance. Weekly and daily naked point of control. Bearish divergences. You might be able to cool off a bit from here. Let me just mark out some of these other daily MPOCs real quick. Got one down here. You got one down here. And you got one down here. I'm not going to mark these. These are super far away. And then I can get rid of the indicator. Okay, so, yeah, it's a bit hard here, right? Because the next significant MPOCs really don't really sit up here. Let's pull up the VPVR. Sometimes the VPVR can help us in these situations. Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I was going to say probably the reason I pulled up VPVR was because this is a big candle, meaning there's probably a volume gap, which you can see there is. So, which is interesting, right? Because that means that if you break out of this level, you could get another fast shot up to, I would say, around 2.0230, right? I would kind of say, like, it's hard to mark off the exact level. I would say, like, probably to, like, this area, 0.022. Not a lot of resistance up until there, though, right? And to be honest, the real high volume node is sitting up here at about 0.02399. So I would really look, I mean, really the way I would mark this out is go down lower time frame, mark this out as some kind of a volume profile. So let me do this. Boom, boom. So yeah, there's your volume gap. You break above this, I think you could potentially get a pretty fast move into about 0.022, all right? 0.021. It's a little bit hard, right? Because you have a little high volume node here, but really, come on, volume. There we go. Yeah, I would say 0.022 all the way up to the value area low at 0.025. Break above that, you could work into your weekly naked point of control, your point of control, and your value area high of that upper range, which obviously we can update, actually. Let me update this level real quick. Pull that to there. Doesn't change it too much, but it will drag it up. It will drag it up. It will drag it up. So, yeah. So, your upper value area, your previous value area that we traded in back here in 2024, value area low 0.026, POC 0.033, value area high 0.038. POC of the range, weekly naked point of control sitting at 0.0285. I know those are hard to kind of remember. You guys can screenshot these and try to get them on your chart. But that's kind of what I would think of. I would say this high that we just rejected, break above that, low volume gap, could see a quick move into this next zone between 0.025 and 0.023. And that's for Pengu. Up until then, I would be careful of a pullback, right? Only because we do have the 4-hour red dot looking to print. You have a 2-hour red dot printing, 3-hour red dot looking to print. Let's check that 7-minute money flow. Yeah, money flow coming out on the 7-minute here. Once that crosses over into the red with the 2-hour red dot, that could be a little bit. So, yeah, definitely resistance up here, and you do have some potentially, medium time frame, lower time frame bearish signals. 12-hour green dot printing. Honestly, kind of choppy here on Market Cipher B. Green dot on the 45-minute. Yeah. This is the key level. You might chop around a little bit here, but I would say this. If you're able to get above here, I'd look for potentially a big move to the upside. Fast. And by big, I just mean fast, right? Also big. Now, if you do come down, daily naked point of control will be key support, in my opinion, sitting at about 0.011. I don't know if you're going to go all the way back down there. you might be able to just stay within this local volume profile. I don't want to give every single level. It's just kind of, it's a little redundant. Not redundant, but it's just like a little bit of overkill. But this could be a local range you could look at, right? Just pull it over this previous, this ranging price action. So yeah, but for the most part, I would definitely look at a break above this level here for a fast move up through the low volume gap. We'll see if it happens. We'll leave a note for ourselves. Did you fill the gap? Obviously, we'll have to break out first, but we'll leave that there. And what is this? Tether US, Pengu, Binance, Tether US, Binance. Boom. So now we got this on the list. All right. Yo, shout out to Diago. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you so much. He said, can you take a look at DOT? Let's take a look at DOT. Polkadot, very similar to the situation as yesterday. Like I said in the beginning of the stream, for the most part, it's really funny. I feel like I never get any kind of hate or anything like that. It's very, very lucky with that. But it's funny. For some reason, people don't like to hear it's going sideways now. I don't know why. Anytime I say it's going sideways, people are like, this is not going sideways. It's how is that not sideways? Right? You're literally in a range. It's pretty funny when I hear people say that. But they might, I don't know. I guess maybe it's it always happens when we get a big move. So maybe people are thinking why is he saying it's going sideways? We just had this big move to the upside. But us who have been in the crypto space, right? Or people who don't leave when price goes down, and we look at these charts every day, we've already seen the move up, right? We've already talked about the bottom being in, right? So this is sideways after a big move up. But either way, right? We do have these sideways range here. This is 100% sideways price action. But yeah, nice. We're kind of just sitting above this value area low. This is the doorway to higher prices. Clinging to this high volume node. Yeah, I mean, your key support still sits at the value area low 49. And this is nice, right? Because if you can get accepted back into this range, right, what are we looking for? You're looking to hold support. Whoa. You're looking to potentially hold it as support, push above, into your POC, flip that POC, go to the high. It's the same exact thing we looked at last time. People said DOT was dead. Take the VPVR off real quick, right? The last time that people said DOT was dead, as we deviated below the volume profile, get back into the range, flip the value area low, go to the high. Everyone said it was dead here. All we saw was the short squeeze building. Move into the low, into the high. Below the low, now we're getting back in. Can we get the move to the high? Hopefully, right? Now, I wouldn't expect it to be an instant move up, but yeah, 2-hour money flow coming out. Maybe you cool off, right? I honestly, even if you deviate below the volume profile again, you would just hope that you can get a reclaim. But at this moment, right now, technically you want to hold the value area low at 49. If you could do that, as long as you remain above 49, the doorway to the POC remains open, right? Let's take a look at some more of this volume. Come on, volume. There we go. Yeah, I mean, I would say breaking above these previous highs here at about 533 could open the door for another push up. And I would just be looking at it within this volume profile for the next move, right? This is not I'm not telling you to enter a long position right now, but at the end of the day, right, even here, right, you get in, targets the POC and the high. You get back into the range from the high, the target is the POC and the value area low. Right, so just from a binary perspective, stay in here. I'm looking for that fill. Now, taking a look at Market Cipher. Yeah, you got the red dot printing on the daily. So you could definitely pull back potentially here. But again, you would hope you hold above the value area low. If you don't hold above the value area low, I would say, ideally, get rid of this. Yeah, I wouldn't really want that much of a retracement. See here. So I would mark out these zones. Ideally, you stay above this blue box. This blue box sits between 494 and 472. if you lose that blue box, you're losing the POC of the range, it becomes much more probable that you're going to move your way down to your value area low. I really wouldn't want to lose this POC. If we did, you could potentially lose the POC, come into the Fibonacci retracement, and then get a bounce back into your upper range. Maybe even go to the value area low. I would definitely use this volume profile as a guide if price breaks below the POC. Hopefully, you kind of play around here. You could reclaim and come back up. But if you start losing that POC, you're definitely more at risk of coming down to the value area low. So hopefully, you just kind of play around the blue box, and then you send it. And, ideally, you don't even go into the blue box. But with a daily red dot about to confirm and your 90-minute money flow looking the way it does, freshly crossing over into the red, you would anticipate that to potentially give you a continuation to the downside. So, yeah, that's what I'd be looking at for Polkadot. And there you go. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. I did not realize we were running into a, how long have we been going here for, guys? Good Lord. Oh, my God. We're overtime. We're overtime, baby. But we got to get out of here. I did not realize we were going for 2 hours and 15 minutes. But, guys, that is all the time we got for tonight's live stream. Shout out to Marcus Ross. Says, are you riding the wave? Shout out to Marcus Roth. I think I said Marcus Ross. Shout out to Marcus Roth. Thank you for the super chat, bro. And the CandleMafia always be riding that wave. And when the wave goes by and it doesn't look as good as we want it to look, we let that thing go by. So shout out to Marcus. Why can't I say your name, bro? Marcus Roth. That bothers my tongue. I don't know why. But with all that being said, guys, that's all the time we got. That's all the time we got for today's live stream. Let's see. Shout out to Julio, said OT pays more. Let's go. Shout out to Julio, baby. We do OT every single day here on the YouTube channel. Funny enough, I said short stream today, and here we are. Hashtag short stream going 15 minutes over. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything here in the super chats. Jack, Blockchain. Hang on. Shout out to Blockchain Domain. Shout out to Blockchain Domain. Says, I like to preach on my channel, patience prints profits. I like that, bro. The more you learn about trading, the less you chase. Love you, Frankie. Hey, shout out to Blockchain Domain. Patience prints profits. I like that, bro. I like that. I'll always give you credit, but I'm definitely going to say that. I'm going to go, listen, man, calm down. You got to have patience. Remember, patience prints profits. My good friend Blockchain Domain told me that. Shout out to you, bro. But, guys, with all that being said, that's all the time I got for today's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for being here. Smash that like button on your way out, and I'll see you here tomorrow. Same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Kettles YouTube channel. That's all I got. I'm exhausted. Sorry if the energy was off today, guys. I am absolutely cooked tonight. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hasta pasta. Frank Kettles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, I can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
Shout out to Marcus Roth. Marcus Roth. I said it right that time. Shout out to Marcus Roth. He says, scrub back, you did miss a super chat. We got his super chat. We got Diago super chat. We got both the spiritual trading podcasts super chats. We got blockchains. We got Jax. I think we got them all, guys. I think we got them all. Yeah, that was all of them. But shout out to Marcus Roth, guys. That's all the time I got for today's live stream. I'm taking off the hat for... Is my hair shiny? Guys, do I have glistening hair? What is that? Why? I'm like a greaser right now. All right. Not too shabby. But anyway, guys, shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time. I got to go take care of Mrs. Candles. She's sick. I got to go blow her up. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on